Clobberin time!
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger, ready to move out. Clobberanimo!
Oh. Whoa. Welcome, dear friends and clobberers and clobberanimos and clobberuskis and clobberoids and clobberistas and whatever kind of clobber you are. I'll not tied on any particular type of identity here. I won't judge you. Just clobber any way you want to do it. Thank you, my friends, for being here with us tonight. Welcome to the last Monday night Mark C. Comics Talk of 2020. It is, of course, Clobberin Times number 490 overall. 1,190. 490 on YouTube. 1,190 overall over 13 and a half years. And I'm so happy to be joined by a great friend of the show. I'm hearing only a slight echo. Let me know if any of you are hearing an echo because it's very faint here. So if you're not hearing it out there, any of you friends out there in the chat not hearing it, that's all that matters. Just let me know. But I'm just so proud and honored to be joined by the great, the one and only official artist of not only Clobberin Times, but the great book Science Fiction Tales by my wonderful first officer, Commander R.M. Briggs. Hungry Boy. I don't know what name he's using tonight, so I'm just saying Hungry Boy. Make it easy.
Roar, Thing Clubby and Hungry Hulk smash puny Tripwire. Roar.
Yarg. Wow, good one. Hey man, what's up? Welcome.
Oh boy, this is going to be a delight because if this was a classic science fiction novel, one that was made into a sci-fi movie, the title would be Slaughterhouse-5.
Yes. You know what? There are other lists out there that claim this. I don't know why I ended up on this one, but I'm glad we did because some of the other ones might not be as much fun to beat up on.
Oh God, yeah, this is going to be a delight. Oh man, this is going to be like if Abbott and Costello did a boxing movie.
So, they did, didn't they? No, that was a Three Stooges episode.
And just before we begin, because it is Monday, shall we all just put M in the chat?
That would always work. It's always good. Monday Night Mark C. Comics Talk, tribute to our wonderful, dear departed friend.
There we go.
Mark C.
Someone I wish I could have met, as I said before.
Boy.
I really
Yes, he was a
appreciated
great friend.
everything you told me of his taste and his perspective and point of view on comic books. And I would like to think that he would be sitting down with a nice beverage, listening to what we're saying tonight, and having a good chuckle at the expense of trip wattage.
Oh, he would have been here. He would have had a lot to say. He would have had a lot to say. I would have had definitely had him on with us.
Excellent.
So
go ahead, boss. Roll them.
Oh well, show notes really quick. Wednesday night, my friends, I will be here. I don't know what I'll be doing, but I'll be here. How about that? So usual time, same Clobby time, same Clobby channel. But hopefully Thursday night we'll be here as well with the clubhouse. So I'll make sure if something happens and it doesn't happen, but due to certain things going on at this time of year, I'll let you know. But hopefully Raquel and Mark will be there, and hopefully I'll be there. Just depends if some kind of family thing comes up that's going on, but I don't know. Probably be here then. Friday night I might be with the comic shop boys on Nick, I guess. Still not sure about that either. Probably. And Saturday night I'll be here counting down to the new year. Let me check did anyone give me a sound check, see if you guys are hearing any if anyone can let me know if you're hearing any
echo. I'm not hearing an echo.
We'll see if anyone else
in the studio. Yeah.
No, yeah, let's see.
Pat says 5x5.
Okay, no echo then. All right, just being
Maddie's
sure.
Daddy says loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, I'm just making sure you're not here. I'm hearing an echo, but it's very faint. So anyway, that's good, but we're good. So anyway, that's that. Let's say our hellos to our wonderful friends who are here with us tonight. Before we do that, of course, I shout out my great wrenches, whether they're here or not, they get the shout out. Now, bear in mind, everyone, I can't see the chat yet because I got to do this. Now that I'll get on it, of course, the great Eric K, the wrencher of bronze, always a pleasure. Shout out to you, my friend. It was cool hanging out with you last night on the great Mark D with a C's watch party that we had, the Christmas watch party.
Yes.
A lot of fun. Chris Persia, wrencher of the vindicated wrencher of the North. Thank you so much, buddy. T-Bod Martin, the wrench of iron. And of course, the aforementioned pal was here with me tonight. Hungry boy, Claboni master extraordinaire. Fanty, outsider, that old rascal. Good to see you there if you're here, buddy. Cal L, the super wrench, of course. Great to see you. And Maddie's daddy is here. Thor from Vegas. Odin. And I know Polymy's Minion is here, so let's take a look at the pupper. I hope you and the pupper had a wonderful Christmas. And it is wonderful to see you, my dear. I hope you are doing well. Now, let me see what we've got going on here in the chat. Let's see who's here. Let me see who's here, because I don't know yet. Oh, you know who I forgot? There he is. How'd I miss him? Oh, because I had everything moved around. The great Lord Thoth is here. Yay. God of wrenching. Avon lives, long live the Legion, my brother. Good to see you, sir. Now, let's see. All right. Now I can back the chat up and say our hellos to our friends who are in there. Oh, man, this StreamYards is being a pain in the arse here. Okay, J-Man Buddy. How'd I forget you? I must have moved everything around. There you are. The wrench without fear. J-Man is here. Yeah. I know it rhymed. Good to see you, my brother. I hope you had a great Christmas. Now, let me get this thing up. Man, my chat is jumping on me. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay, Stuart Mitchell. Hail. Hope you had a Merry Christmas, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. Michelle O'Rourke Johansson. Is it Michelle? It's Michelin. How do you spell it? What's that word there? Michelin? Is it Michelin? I can't tell. Looks like the cell she wrote it. Anyway, welcome. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. Let's see here. A lot of okay. The Comic Relief Crusader. Hope you had a great Christmas. You and yours. Linrod, hope you had a great Christmas. What's that going on in the background? Are you walking around? Are you walking around there, huh? Hungry? You hear me, hungry boy?
Pardon?
Are you hearing me?
Oh yeah, sorry. I stepped away for a moment. I was just
Okay,
grabbing
okay.
some mineral water so I can
Oh, cool.
stay
Yeah,
hydrated. So
right.
what did you say?
I would just say because I heard I thought that was I was asking if you were walking around, so what you're
Oh
doing.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I forgot to mute. I just I needed
no
my
problem.
water because I'm probably going to get dehydrated with the amount of "Rawr" that's going to go on tonight.
No, gotcha. We'll get down to beeswax in just a second here. Let me
Mhm.
just move my chat. Want to make sure we get everybody shouted out. Stupid StreamYard's chat's being a pain in the freaking ass tonight. Damn it. Oh yeah. Thank you. Thank you, LT. I will probably talk more about this Wednesday night. R.I.P. the great Stephen Greif, the first Travis, the best Travis.
Oh
Damn
no.
shame. A great actor,
Oh.
an awesome dude.
Proper
Um,
Travis.
yeah, number one Travis. Damn shame. I hear Brian Croucher's a lovely individual, but of course Stephen was the man as Travis. It's always tough to follow. I mean, following a tough act like that, you know.
Mm.
Let's see here. Okay, make sure I got everybody before we get started. JD Lewis, hope you had a great Christmas, buddy. Pat S, what's up, brother? It's good hanging out with you last night. Masters Maniac Mexico. I hope you're had a wonderful Christmas time. Let's see. The lovely Sherry. Hey, what you say there, pretty girl? I hope you had a great Christmas. It is lovely to see you, lovely Sherry. Brian Hepburn, good to see you. Hope you had a great Christmas. Let's see here. Scrolling down, almost done, folks. Almost takes a bit. All right. Let's see. This thing dropped from me. Claude Salling, hope you had a great Christmas. And there we go. I think I got to the end of it. So anyone else who pops in, as always, we will stop what we're doing and say hello. But let us get started. As you all know, and I've traced this back to this Tripwire list that we're going to be talking about tonight. We've been covering this for about a year and a half, maybe. I think it was something like that. Maybe it was year. Simply Steve, hope you had a great Christmas. Good to see you, my friend. Something like that, right? When we found it, it was up to like 54 already. It was down to on this countdown. It was down to 54. I think originated on their site around August of 2021.
And oh boy, Clobby, I make the mistake of doing some homework, and when we get started, the person they put at 101. I can't wait for you to bring.
Yeah,
that
we're gonna
one
get.
up.
Yeah, we'll be on it. We're gonna get right to it in a second. So, for those who do not know, I've been covering this thing after initially doing a show talking about what they had so far from 101 down to 54, and bitching about it quite a bit. It's almost a year ago now. We have covered this list each week. For those who are unfamiliar, hello there, Grim, Dark, and Fierter. Those not familiar with this list, Tripwire was once actually a print mag. It's a British geek magazine that I was familiar with. I'd seen and probably bought every here and there once in a while, many years ago. But I was familiar with it for sure. Now it's, I believe, strictly online, like many mags, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, it has it covers comics and it covers other things. You know, they talk about other type of geek stuff and film and such, of course, like so like Empire magazine and some of these other ones, except those don't cover comics. This one actually does do a lot of comic book coverage. So Tripwire took it upon themselves to make the audacious claim that their list would count down the 101 greatest, and it's worded this way too. Greatest comic artist of all time. They parse words, so they're not saying comic book or comic strip, although only like 2 or 3 comic strip artists are even there. So it is comic books. And so here it be, and we're going to go backwards, in a countdown fashion, as I'm often fond of doing. And I'll check the chat every chance I get, but I'll be going back and forth between that and the site. So basically, here's the thing, folks, for those not familiar. Opinions are opinions. If this were a list that said, "Hi, I'm Joe whoever, and this is my favorite my list of my favorite comic book artists, no problem. The great Mark C., whom this show was named after, and I, early on YouTube, we both did a show that I'm very proud of, where we both counted down our top 25 all-time favorite comic book artists. All right, Jay, man, good to have you here, buddy. Lurk away, sir. And by the way, thank you anyone who is lurking. We really appreciate that. And thank you for anyone watching this later on a download or a rewatch. It is much appreciated. And I don't say that enough. In fact, I would have totally forgotten to say it again, if not for the great J-Man. Thank you, buddy. So basically, I'm no problem with having different opinions. I mean, I don't even have a problem with you saying, I think this is the greatest artist and this guy. So these are opinions and it's fine. However, I still dispute it as a fan. In other words, they didn't hurt anybody with this list. I just like to dispute it because it does make me, it called into question for me, I want to say their knowledge, maybe, to put it in a nice way. But the thing is, and I was talking about this a little bit the other night, Hungry Boy. I thought about making my list when we did our favorite thing, like a little longer than 25, but I decided 25 is a decent number because as far as my favorites, the ones I like the most, I probably couldn't get more than about 20 or 30. Then stop. Like, I don't know if I have 100 that I'd like enough to make a list for. So I just didn't bother. I just did a favorite list. However, these people I understand they're trying to compile the 100, and it just seems very pretentious to me, some of these choices. And again, maybe if some of the omissions were not so glaring, that wouldn't be so bad. But there's also placement of this list, especially in the middle, the mid section, if you will, is really, in my opinion, not good. Again, it's just one opinion, and I know they're just giving opinions as well, and it's perfectly fine. We like to grumble about it and stuff, and I'm going to do that again. But remember, it's coming from a tongue-in-cheek place. They can make any dumb list they want. So, but we're going to have some fun with it anyway, because it is fun because it's a good lists are great conversations piece.
Well, I mean, you can be tongue-in-cheek about it all you like. I'm going to be perfectly honest. It's more than tongue-in-cheek for me. I trained for this calling because you know the term in comic books being called a lifer. You know that term,
right?
And I started training for this stuff when I was less than 9.5 years old. I trained for I was busting my butt every week for 9 years until I got in and finally got paid. So for me, I take this a tad bit more seriously, and I understand a bit more issue and a lot more insult with the list. And at least I'll give them this. These bleepity bleep bleep bleeps came out of the gate with something to aggravate me.
Oh yeah, well, look, don't get me wrong. I'm annoyed by it as well. I'm simply saying I try not to take it. I still take it with a grain of salt in the sense of like, look, it's their mag. They want to put any kind of dumb crap they want, whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's what I mean. I guess maybe tongue in cheek was not the correct. Not the
no,
correct.
It was correct. It was correct. I'm just apologizing in advance if I get a little bit overly.
No problem. So 101, their choice at number 101, folks, is a gentleman by the name of Kevin Nolan. How do you say it? Nolan, maybe?
Nolan. I think it's
Nolan. No, okay.
It might be Nolan. I haven't met him. He's one of the few I didn't get to meet.
Right. Okay. Well, this is a person like I would say like the largest percent of this list is someone whose work I'm quite familiar with.
Yes.
And I just got to say, I don't know him. I mean, maybe a splendid fellow. I'm sure he is. This is a guy who's I like this work on like on Jack Be Quick and things like that he did with Alan Moore, or I think for ABC. But on balance, I'm not. Again, look, this is coming from a guy who can't draw. I'm not the biggest fan of his work. I'm not saying it's bad. Considering who's left off this list, I'm not the biggest fan of it. How about that? So, and now I'll get Hungry Boy now to comment on this at 101. At least he's not above anybody. He's not ahead of anybody.
Okay, I'll come out with my first statement, and it's going to be the basis for a lot of my statements, and probably dovetail with a lot of your statements. They've got him at 101, and they've got Dan Clowes at 44. I mean, no. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Placement's going to be a big problem all night. So I just want
But
to
it's
see
a
you guys on that.
comparative. See, the thing is, as you were saying earlier, and I'm going to apologize to people in advance because a lot of what I say is going to be completely agreeing with Clobby. Okay, so you're going to be hearing a lot of agreement tonight. There's probably not going to be very much debate whatsoever. But
Sure.
when you look at when you come from the actual making the sausage instead of eating the sausage side of things, right?
Uh-huh.
You look at art in a very, very different way. You look from the time if you started training at 9, by the time you're 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, you're looking at a comic book page in a very, very different way than most people do. Okay. It's like someone who's raised in a family of chefs, or if you started training to be a chef, when you sit down and you start eating a meal, you're analyzing it. Okay. So for me, when I look at Kevin's work, I'm seeing all the skill, I'm seeing all the craftsmanship, I'm seeing everything that goes into being called a comic book artist versus being a cartoonist. And this is something, when we get higher up on the list, I'm going to take great issue with and umbrage at. And I'm just going to say directly, and I've been getting in trouble with this since 1993. Cartoonists are not comic book artists. They are separate creatures.
That's a whole show right there. Matt G, welcome. Merry Christmas. I hope you had a great Christmas. Go ahead.
And so when you look at Kevin Nolan's work, he is a comic book artist proper. Okay. He's not someone who basically is doing, let's make fun of the traditionalist culture, and maybe MTV will pay attention and I'll get to do a crappy animation in Liquid Television in 1992 about it. Otherwise known as Daria. And there will be occasional Daria jokes in my responses tonight, but it's just I'm not saying that he is better than he is. I'm not saying he's lesser than he is, but I'm saying regarding the other people and their placement on the lists, having him here at 101 versus other people higher than him, let's just say really sets the tone and really shows where their head is at.
I'm going to make a slight game change plan here. I planned initially to not mention omissions till later, but what I'm going to do, we'll go into omissions in depth later, but I'm going to still use them as examples sometimes, depending, for example, without making too fine a point of it. You've got Kevin Nolan on this list, but you don't have Kurt Swan, Joe Shuster, Dave Cockrum, Herb Trimpe. Yeah. I'm just throwing those out there. Every time we're going to get to one of these entries, I'm going to say, does this guy deserve to be on this list more than that? And when it comes to a really good one on the list, I'm not going to argue with you. You won't hear me talk about the omissions.
And
so
I
just questioned him being on here at all.
And this also goes back to what you were talking about yesterday. I was just in the chat stream where we need to separate best from favorites, but sometimes a favorite is one of the best. And so, for example, or one of the greatest. So, for example, as much as I love Cockrum and I prefer his work over Swan, I recognize Swan as a greater comic book artist than Cockrum because of every factor that you have already stated, the amount of work, the amount of interior pages, and also the influence on other people and the influence on the medium itself as a whole.
Exactly. And there are a lot of people on this list that have no influence. They're just okay artists and stuff. But here's the thing. Again, without going too much, we're gonna go more in detail with the omissions later. But yes,
Thor's chiding me. I got chided by Thor already.
No, I mean, look, I love Cockrum and Swan. So my point is, or Dick Sprang or Joe Shuster, these guys aren't. This guy is. That's my point. So we'll move on to the next one. Okay, the next one is my first big problem with placement of the night. Murphy Anderson, in my opinion, is one of the greats. Now, he was mostly known for his inking. That's fair enough, which I can see him being a little bit lower for that, even though he did some great pencil work. I mean, he did some great covers, did some interiors, but because he was mostly known for his inking, got to meet him once, really nice man. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not give him too much crap about the placement, but at least he made it on here, so that's good enough. I'm not going to whine about it too much. Murphy Anderson,
Mhm.
the great leakers list, he would be way up in the top.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Way up in the top, in my opinion.
Gil Kane owes half his career to him. You look at all the Anderson stuff.
We may have to argue about that one night, but I do love his inks on Kane. Yeah. Well,
Oh
Swan.
no, I'm just
Swanderson.
Swan. Yeah, I'm just saying that Anderson, as much as he helped Swan, he was a regular inker for a lot of internal pages on Kane, and see, he minimized some of what Kane did. He maximized some other stuff, but the show's not about Anderson. But I'm just saying.
Oh no, we're
going
going
with you on the Anderson stuff.
Right, and we'll make quick work of that one because I'm glad he's on there. Now the next one, I got some yelling to do. Number 99, Jim Aparo. Are you freaking kidding me? What? 99, you jackasses. Again.
You're agony.
There are 98 better artists than Jim Aparo in comics history. What? You might disagree, but I'm sorry, man. I'm not saying he's in the top 20 or anything like that, but you're going to tell me there are 98 better than him? What?
I'm agreeing.
Considering some of the clowns on this list? Holy shit, Tripwire, you jagoffs. The sheer body of work, man.
I know, but a lot of this, and we'll get into this later. I think a
the
lot
body
of this
work,
is
storyteller.
I mean, so this is to coin a term, to use a word that Raquel has been using a fair amount over the past 6 months. I think this kind of choice and placement is a bit sociological. I think they want to present.
Also, one problem.
Yes.
Go ahead. No, go
well,
ahead.
I think a lot of this list is they're taking some people and placing them lower than they should be. So it's planting the seed in the public consciousness that these guys deserve to be lower than some of the people they placed wrongfully higher. And I think it is actually quite conscious on a pseudo-journalistic level. And that's one of my problems with this list. I don't think this list is quite as casual as it appears on first glance. Because if you look at something once and it happens, you think, okay. Twice, you think, hold on, something might be going on here. Third, fourth, fifth time, you're going, okay, I see a pattern. And there is a pattern with this list. And I don't like the pattern at all.
So screw you on that one. You really screwed the pooch. Tripwire, that's the one. Man, right out of the gate, you just suck. I mean, Jim Aparo, yeah, I know I'm being opinionated here, but number 98, Tim Sale.
No, that's right. This one I can live with. Okay, my thought.
This one, right? I like Tim Sale.
Tim Sale, you can like him, you can loathe him. His work really comes down to personal taste, but I mean, if you have Tim Sale,
yeah, I mean,
if you have Tim Sale on a list and you don't have Cockrum, you're insane. That's all I'm gonna say on this one.
Well, especially because let's face it, his style is not particularly original.
It's not particularly original.
Influence.
And a lot of it is just like that one right there with the Joker. That is just dadgum bone ugly. That's ugly to the bone. That is just ugly ass art. And it's ugly to sort of, you're making things
Halloween, yeah.
You're making things, I know that's a sacred cow to a lot of people in terms of the Bat comics, but sometimes an artist will make something purposefully distorted to cover up certain other things they don't necessarily get right or come unnaturally to them. And so for me, having Sale at this low on the list, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have him on there, have him low. But I mean, look, I've actually liked some of his stuff. And some Long Halloween stuff is weird. I mean, yeah, but I just, again,
that's one of the most terrible jokes.
The omissions make it worse.
The omissions.
Yeah, it's terrible. All right. Bob Fujitani at number 97. All right. This guy, this is another one. I'm not going to diss the old dude around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. The guy was a top-notch Golden Age artist.
Yes.
I have every respect. I'm not even going to speak about this placement one way or the other. I'm just going to simply say I don't know how you have this guy in there and not Joe Shuster.
Oh, no,
That's all
I
I'm
understand.
saying.
This is
Excellent
this
artist.
is not political.
But who knows
This
who
guy
he is?
is
This who knows who this guy is?
Exactly. I mean,
Go ahead.
I only knew. I'll be honest. I only knew about him 3 years ago. All right, and that's because you know, when you're following links, you're going down the rabbit hole on the internet, and I do greatly enjoy his art, but do I think he belongs necessarily on this list at the expense of certain people we've mentioned? No, I don't. Absolutely not. I mean, it's
Yes.
But this one here, I think they were being hipsters. You know, it's like you remember around the year 2002 when the youngins would sit there and they'd come out with like a vinyl record under their arm and their little woolen caps, and it would be the most obnoxiously obscure record ever, just so they could show off in front of their friends. That's what this is.
That's exactly right.
Hipster crap.
Pretentious.
Hipster crap. It's hipster crap.
Yes.
That's all
Again, nothing against, but I'm not gonna knock any golden age artists though. They went through a lot of hell. Here's one that I could almost argue could be higher. Sid Shores was a master.
Yes. And he was working all the way into the Silver Age and a bit of the Bronze.
I mean, at least he's on the list.
Mm-hmm.
So I to blame.
I'm sorry, your audio's coming in and out. Could you repeat that? Because it sounded like a good comment, but your audio was dipping out for me.
I spent a lot of time on this.
Uh-oh. Mama Susan's attacking Clobby.
I'm with him being somewhere on the list.
Wow. I'll be honest, I can't comment on that because I heard almost none of it. Your audio was cutting out a lot. Hello?
Oh, how about now?
Okay, now we're fine.
Yeah, you're not hearing me at all?
No, now I am.
Anyone having trouble hearing me, my friends? Okay. I don't know. Sometimes if I go to the other screen to move that thing, well, it could be my internet just being wonky. Anyway, so Sid Shores is at number 96. Let's scoot along here. We'll address. Okay, now look, CC Beckett 95. At least he's on there.
At least he's on there. Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna leave a name like CC Beckett. So you hear me?
Okay, yes, I'm hearing you. I mean, sometimes it's almost like I felt that they put CC Beck on here, even this low, begrudgingly. It's just I'm sure they didn't want to have Jack at number one, but they knew if they didn't put him at number one, there was going to be a riot at the offices. But this one feels there are a couple of
curmudgeon.
He was the curmudgeon, but I mean, there was a lot of his work really does deserve to be recognized, and I do really enjoy, like that one right there with Captain Marvel with the oncoming train. I really do love that cover. It's always been a favorite of mine, and really does show the creation, the composition of a page as per classic comic book artist acumen. So I can live with this one.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine with it. He's on the list, no problem. You know, and he did give us help to give us Captain Marvel. So. I mean, again, that's influence. All right, Alan Davis. I'm fine with this one. I don't know. What do you think? Yeah. I like Alan Davis.
I think it is slightly incrementally low. I would have raised him a little bit higher. Maybe I would have placed him at 90 or 91. But I think this one is about right. And you've said that about a lot of the guys once we get up into about the 25s and higher. But Alan Davis, we must say, was very, very influential on a lot of artists. I knew as many people who were influenced by Alan Davis's work as they were influenced by, unfortunately, Mark Silvestri and Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
So
he should be above those dummies. But he should be above Silvestri and Lee, though, and he's not. That's what I'm saying. I think he's slightly low considering some of the people on the list. Maybe not in a normal world, but I think he's a bit low because of some of the boneheads on the list, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. We'll get to those boneheads. We'll get to the boneheads.
Yeah, we'll get to the boneheads. What happened? Okay. Well, this is to a dumb place. What number were we at? I mean, this site's being all annoying because it skipped. What was that? 95.
Their site's terrible. It's really hard to navigate.
Go back
it's really
to 95.
hard to jump from one to the other one, and it takes forever to load.
Oh, it really
I
is bad.
Can't stand their site.
Neither. It's Garbaggio. All right, so
I mean,
so that
Golden,
was
he deserves to be on the list. Golden does deserve to be on the list, but this is something that you.
No, we're not to him yet. We're not to him yet. This site skipped on me.
Oh, that's why
get back
we were
to
on. Okay, gotcha. Right.
Okay, let's see. Here we go now. Sid. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, Phantom Outsider, and don't forget the teeth and
pockets. All over me.
Teeth and pockets, man. Yeah. That's Liefeld. No feet, all teeth and pockets.
95. You know what? Screw this site. I've got them all written down. I'm tired of this crap.
Oh, good.
I am had it with this stupid site. It is all garbage. Here, I tell you what, folks. I'm just going to read them off. It'll be quicker. And maybe I'll go back to it later. Oh, my God, man. They take forever. I mean, it's just garbage. All right. Where were I? Let's see. Okay, so we were at... In fact, they skip stuff sometimes, so maybe it's better that I'm just doing it this way. All right. Alan Davis was the last one. 90. That was 90. He was 94. 93 is Carmine Infantino.
Yeah. You see, this is funny, this one, because you and we have the guy here. We have Carmine, the great Carmine. Hey, it's Carmine. What's it gonna do about it?
Oh my!
It's the Infantino. Hey, but the thing is, this is the guy who essentially gave us Batgirl and gave us Poison Ivy. So and did great work on the Flash, and we must recognize him for that. But for you and I, he's also the guy that ruined the last couple of issues of Nova.
Nova, Star Wars, John Carter, Flash, later Flash. Oh man!
I mean,
however,
when people complain about Kirby in the 70s, I'm thinking, but have you seen Carmine? Have you seen what Carmine became in the 70s?
Yeah. Oh, whereas Kirby didn't change. He didn't really change that much.
No.
But Carmine did.
You know, someone once asked, they said, what is your problem with later Carmine? 1970s Carmine. And my answer was silly putty noses. Because, those noses got pointier and they started stretching out. Everyone started looking like Pinocchio.
If you can't see the difference between 1966 Carmine and 1977 Carmine, you are blind, sir. And I have terrible eyesight, and I can see it, and I'm not even an artist. I mean, it's that bad.
I know.
It is that, but, so here we go. Carmine, however, did some just splendid work. He was publisher at DC for a while. He hired the King.
Yes. He made a lot of right decisions.
Yep. And then he got ousted for Jeanette Kahn. But this guy was certainly belongs on the list somewhere. I don't have no problem with him being down here considering some of the way his art faltered. But hey, that's sort of like bitching about Johnny Unitas. I mean, that's like saying a quarterback who won all his championships, even though he overstayed his welcome and didn't play well in the end of his career. You don't ding him for that. Who
did you mention? Sorry,
Johnny Unitas.
Oh, right.
Or a guy who had a great career. Later, Infantino dislocated all the joints.
That's what I was laughing at. I got a slight cough, and that's why I was laughing and coughing. That was a great one, Steve. It's so true. It's so true.
Even Tripwire doesn't show any of his old stuff, I bet you.
No.
Now, see, some of this he was inked by Murphy Anderson. Yeah. Really. Oh, here you go. They do show one.
Oh,
look how bad. Look how crappy his Star Wars would. Even Terry Austin barely saves him on this.
My 1966 response to that, Clubby, is, "Oh, the pain, my delicate back. Oh, the pain."
Terry Austin barely saves him on this. It's still terrible. This is terrible too. Look at this. This is not Terry Austin. Oh man, it got.
At least they're not showing the Nova. I think that was actually the nadir, the bottom of the well for Carmine. Was
I
the
don't know.
Nova stuff.
Oh, maybe, but John Carter was pretty bad too. And then it was Dial H for Hero.
Ugh.
So it's.
And I respect him because his Silver Age stuff is some of the stuff that I would show to youngins who wanted to learn how to do proper comic book art. And I just say, okay, there's a cutoff point for Carmine. It's the Carmine cutoff point. And don't look at the stuff after here. But, anyway, let's get to the next one, please.
Well, the next one is now this is one of the old legends as well, Clark's. This is the next one. Now, I know he only drew ducks. I get that he only drew ducks. I get it. But to deny his legendary status is preposterous. He was still a great artist.
Yeah.
Still better. I mean, still this on a list of the greatest comic artists of all time. You've got to have him on there, and I think he should be higher than any of these putzes that are in front of him.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Good way to put it.
So, yeah. So you got to have every respect, whether you're into his duck work or not. Okay, now 91 is. How do I do this? How do I do 91? How do I do 91? Because I'm trying to be respectful here. If you see where I'm coming from. All right, let me go get 91 set up here. Just Tripwire. Let me tell you something. This is a young lady that I do not know, and I don't know if you know her.
Oh,
Her name is Fiona Staples.
Yeah.
Looks like a lovely girl.
Yes.
She's a good artist. I mean, I'm not knocking her abilities.
When she chooses to be, yes. When she chooses to be a good artist, she is.
She's better than Jim Aparo and
no, she's
Alan
not.
Davis.
No, she's not.
And Carl Barks and Carmine Infantino at his prime. And this is all even show from her. Look. Look at this. This isn't sort of a telling thing when you have her on this list and they show like just 4 examples of her work. Again, probably a very lovely person. I don't know. Trying to be respectful. I mean, she's done nothing to us, and look, if I could draw even half that well, but Jesus Christ, you don't have Jerry. I mean, you don't have Dick Sprang on here, Dave Cockrum, but you have this lovely young lady.
You don't have Herb Trimpe on the list.
You don't have Herb Trimpe.
You got Fiona.
You got Fiona, my dear. And again, it's not her fault. No, nothing. No animosity towards the lady whatsoever.
No, none at all. And you know what? She makes her deadlines, and that's something that fans and readers like. But I will say again, the Raquel word, I think that one was a sociological choice. I think that was for optics, as people at Midnight's Edge would say.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did I? I
guess it is.
Did I cross a bridge too far with that one?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right.
I guess it could be. I guess it could be. You're right. Probably.
Well, I mean,
let's forget about poor old. I'd rather beat up on the next guy. Okay, Todd Mc. Okay, go. Sorry, I was ready to leave that one, but if you want to go, let me cover it up. Because I wanted to.
I'm only saying that sometimes, again, I'm coming at it from the guy who makes the sausage. So whenever we're looking at the finishes, the execution of the piece from the layout onward, I'm taking into account the layout and the competition of the page. And if somebody's stuff is in terms of the layout, stultifyingly boring, that will immediately drop them down for me. And that might even make me think they don't deserve to be on the list if their layout is really boring. And so sometimes if someone's layout is really exciting, even if the execution is not all that in a bag of chips, to go back to the late 90s, showing my age there, then I think they should be higher on the list. So again, it all comes down to placement. But if we may as well move on. I've said my piece on that one, and I don't mean to hold this up. I'm sorry.
No. Okay, no, you good. Yeah, we'll try to make quicker time of it when we can. But yeah, I'm just saying, when it's one like that, Fiona, is above.
No.
And on there when some guys who did just extraordinary bodies of work that aren't even on there. All right, Todd frickin' McFarlane at 90. He doesn't belong on this list, in my opinion. But that's a minority opinion. There are people who really like his art. But I'm not fond of it. You know what I always thought he was? And I always thought that he's kind of like, who do I think he was ripping? It's almost like he was like a mismatch of trying to rip off P. Craig Russell and Michael Kaluta, and he couldn't do either.
I can see exactly where you're coming from there. I also think that he was trying to, on occasion, rip off a bit of Kirby without understanding Kirby, and he certainly was adopting a good portion of Art Adams, but from the early days, not when Arthur Adams became very good and proficient. Because if you look at the Long Shot miniseries, when you look at Art Adams' first work for Marvel and you compare it to what he was doing in the late 90s, it's night and day. There was so much artistic progression with Art Adams. And so if a young artist, like when Todd McFarlane is young, is looking at Art Adams with all of his artistic deficiencies, and he's going, oh, this is really cool, I really like that, and they absorb that into their own style, you're headed for trouble.
Yep. Hey, Mark, Dave, what to say? What's up, buddy?
You don't think I'm being too fussy with that one, do you?
No. No, sir. He's just overrated beyond belief.
Well, some people said
he doesn't belong on this damn list. I'm sorry.
Well, if it was a list of people who were the smartest in making money out of comics, I'd put him in the top 10.
Well,
because,
yeah.
I mean, with the toy stuff, he knew what he was doing. And at one point back before the internet, when we were only dealing with print media, there was one article where he basically admitted his main focus was to get into the toy business. And so for that, he succeeded. And for a while in the 90s, I mean, boy, his toys were everywhere. But we don't want to spend too much time on old.
No, let's get off of him. I just want to think I'm done with him already. I'm done with him. I never was a fan. I think he's a dope. I think even this toy line's stupid because he's got these new superpowers toys. They don't look anything. It's supposed to be throwbacks to the old ones, and they don't look anything like the freaking superpowers toys.
Yeah,
like what a jagoff. All right. 89. How do I say it? Well, he was a really good artist. He was so obscure. I think he's kind of obscure, to be honest with you, like we were talking about earlier. Anyway, number 89 is Matt Baker. Who again was a fairly obscure artist from the Golden Age.
Yeah,
I don't know where these people. I doubt these people ever really. I mean, I like Fanblade. It was great. I doubt these guys ever actually really knew anything about this guy. That they just looked at some old covers and said that looks pretty good. Let's go find out this guy's name. And their site's so wonky, won't even load the rest of his pictures or most of them. But he was an excellent artist. So having him on here somewhere is fine, but I mean, they don't take into account things like that we keep talking about: influence, body of work.
Yes, and he died very young.
Dave. 37 or something.
35 or 36, I believe. Very early.
Dave, good to see you, buddy. Yeah,
and he could have been so much more. So I kind of give this one, to use a Mark C.
It's fine to be on there.
I'll give special dispensation, as the Catholics would say, to this one. But the thing is that he's an industry insiders really like his work. Okay, so I understand kind of why they're choosing this and placing this where it is.
Yeah, I'm fine with him on there.
One go. And also, he was one of the few guys who could ink his work as well or better than anyone else could ink his work, and that was really necessary in the golden era, the golden age.
Yes.
Because we hadn't established very much the penciler, inker, colorist conveyor belt system yet at that point in comic books.
Yeah, I'm fine with him. I just thought it was interesting having that, on there. I mean, having him on it, considering it's pretty obscure. He didn't last as long as some guys, but it's it's fine. It's better than some guys to put him on there.
But one of the things we'll keep coming back to is, but higher than Jim Aparo. Should he be higher than Jim Aparo?
No.
And that's just a no.
Should he be on there instead of Dave Cockrum? No.
You're getting revenge for all my Nova comments. You know how much that's killing me.
No,
God, every time.
It's unconscionable not to have Cockrum on this list.
It is utterly unconscionable because, and we'll go into more depth later, but even if you look at the respect the industry was showing Dave Cockrum when he couldn't make the deadlines like other people, and that's the reason he got pulled off the X-Men, is because they had to move monthly and he could only do a bi-monthly book. That's why they put him on covers, but that's a massive respect because a lot of people, and maybe even some clobberers don't know, that if you're earning $100 for an interior page, you're going to get between $150 to $170 to $200 for a cover. And that's how much respect the cover means, expressed in actual money.
Well, our next one, sir, is one that I'm gonna say this. I'm one of the few. This is a very popular artist, and I'm one of the few is not a huge fan of. And yet, for my friends who are, and I have some very good friends, one who's in the chat right now, and others who love this artist, is one of their favorites. I have another friend of mine who said Absolute is his all-time favorite. So I will say, just being completely objective, even though he's not quite my favorite, I think he should be higher than 88, and that is Michael Golden.
Yeah.
Michael Golden is 88. My buddy Mark D with the C's a big fan. My buddy Wes that's his favorite artist. And look, he's got a lot of art out there. I mean, not compared to some maybe, but he's still out there. So, I mean, I like his stuff. Don't get me wrong. I never was the biggest like Golden fan. I like him enough, but I have people. They're truly. People really just adore his work.
There is a phrase we had back between 1994 and around the year 2000. We jokingly used to refer to the cult of Golden. And I can understand that because honestly, he didn't influence me in any way, but I did really enjoy his work. But I was the guy who made the joke about the huge thunder thighs that made Raquel laugh regarding Golden, remember? And I mean, this guy, every single set of thighs is like 1962 Godzilla thighs. They're all Godzilla thighs, men and women. And I do actually really, I do love Golden's work. But here's something I will say about Golden. I'll say two things about Golden. First thing I will say is, as a penciler, he's totally dependent on who inks him, and generally is better inked by himself, because there are some pencilers who are, if you look at Kurt Swan and you look at a top tier inker inking him and a mediocre inker inking him, the quality and the layout of his work still comes through. This is also true in most cases with the King, Jack King Kirby. But with Golden, he is utterly dependent because his lines are so specific and his rendering is so contextual, graphically contextual, that if you have a choppy inker on him, his work just turns to mush. It turns to visual mush. And I appreciate the fact he's on his list, but here's the second thing I will say. He's number 88 on the list. If you divide 88 by 2, what number do you get?
I was led to believe there would be no math involved tonight, sir.
Well, the number you get is 44, and we all know how much I love number 44, but we'll get to him later. But Golden, I do think he belongs on the list, and I like him probably almost as much as Mark does, but I like him in context. I like him.
Well, there you go. I'm fine with him being higher. Right. If he were, I could. That's what I'm saying. I think he's low. I'm saying he's low because he's very popular, regardless of inks or anything like that. So I'm actually totally behind anyone saying he should be higher than that.
Yeah. I think he should be somewhat higher,
Okay.
but Golden, I do not think, and I'm sorry, Mark, I'll apologize for this in advance. I don't think Golden would be within, say, 5 placements of Kane or Perez. I don't think we should place him up that much higher,
No,
fantasy list.
I don't think so. So, all right, our next one again is another example. Number 87 is another example of a golden age artist that no one's ever heard of unless you're weirdo like me who reads this sort of thing. George Evans, very good artist.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's insider baseball again.
If you don't have almost every issue of Alter Ego magazine or some of those other like that, you don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
And their site's so screwed up now, they're not even loading all the pics.
I know.
They must know we're doing. I think they know we're doing this.
Dude, it was about 6 hours ago. I had almost no sleep, but I was doing my homework for this episode of the Clobby Show, right? Okay. And I was going, man, your site sucks on any given day, but today, Tripwire, your site
They knew it.
sucks
They
even
were what
worse.
look, dude, they knew it was coming. They knew. So I'm not gonna say anything about George being there one way or the other. It's fine. He was an excellent artist, but again, there are plenty of people I think personally would be more deserving. So I'll just leave it at that.
I'll agree, and I'll just put it into a fun context. George Evans is the kind of person that the freelancers, when we were at the conventions and it was 2 a.m. and they were about to close up bar, okay, and we're getting to those last 20 minutes of the conversation about the industry, he's a name that would come up, but he's a 2 a.m. name that you drop. He's not like he's not a 9 o'clock first cocktail name like Kirby or Steranko, And so, yeah.
No, that's a fair call. So you can probably say the same for the next guy. Number 86. You could probably say, and like I said, boy, it's tough to get pictures now, man. They're
really, they know you're here.
I mean, they know you're not loading at all anymore.
They're
know.
Probably listening to the stream and they're deleting the pictures as we go.
Yep. I told you to get rid of that article from the site before that fat asshole does this.
Hey,
all
two
right,
fat assholes,
anyway.
if you please. 2 fat assholes, if you please.
I was only speaking for me. Number 86, Paul Gustavusson. Gustafsson. Whatever. Gustavusson. Anyway, fine artist. I have every respect. But Kurt Swan and Joe Schuster and Dave Cockrum and Dick Sprang aren't on here. So, and Herb Trippian. I got a big old list of other ones that aren't too. We're going to talk about later. But again, so this, let's move on. Let's get some speed into these legs. But let's get some, we'll move on. We'll try to move this thing quicker, folks. But yeah, guys, come on now.
That was another one. This is all I'll say on Gustafsson is that's another one of those hipster records under the arm names that you trot out. I know it.
Right. We know our comics because we looked at we peaked. We looked at we wikied the because you can wiki comic book artists and it'll list them in alphabetical order.
Absolutely.
Okay, now I'm a big fan of number 85 we got here, and I'm fine with him where he is. You may or may not agree, but 85 is of course Ross Andrew, and I'm fine with. We could be there are people that would have over him certainly.
I warned you that sometimes I'd agree. I warned you that sometimes I would just agree. If you want me to give the reasons why I agree, I can, but I simply agree.
You can. Mike Healy Chow, Roll Tide, Scogly Joe 2-0 there. Hey, that's 70s Rocks fan. What's up, buddy?
Roll
I hope you all had
Tide!
a wonderful Christmas.
Skogly! That 70s
yes.
you picked a Schmarvel.
Indeedishness. So, look, I love Ross Andrew, and again, there are people I would definitely have. I wouldn't have him over Jim Aparo, but that's life.
No.
At least he's on the list. And so, any thoughts you may have about Ross, because he's done a lot of great work.
Well, the thing is, again, it comes down to layouts, action sequences.
Storyteller. Yeah.
Yeah, basically the storytelling narrative. And sometimes, you can get caught up in the finishes, or you can be caught up in the layout. But as a layout artist, like right here, the one you're showing right now with the Punisher and Spider-Man.
That's a classic cover.
That is possibly one of the best composed covers in comic book history. It really is. And he's also showing that when he's given a little amount of time, his anatomy is as good as Gil Kane's, and that is really saying something, because Gil Kane was considered the master of anatomy, and Byrne himself said that. Byrne himself said, if you want to know anatomy, you look at Buscema, but you also look at Gil Kane, and Byrne said that in print, before Byrne was Super Byrne, and he could bitch about everybody.
Yep. And that is a classic.
That is one of the best covers ever.
It is. And he was on Spider-Man for a long time. He did a lot of covers for DC.
Yes. And his work was consistent. You never really had a drop in Ross Andrew penciling quality. You would occasionally just suffer some really bad inks on Ross Andrew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think he was best buddies with Mike Esposito, because he used to always inked him more than anybody. So
yeah, I kind of wish Jaya
of course,
Koya
he had a lot of
more.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, he had kind of a lot of help on this one, but it's still a fine layout. One of the greatest. One of the greatest scenes in comic book history, right there.
This story, in fact, is my all-time favorite Ross Andrew story. This is, if somebody says, "Should I like Ross Andrew?" I point them to this one.
Love it. We had a great time reviewing that one. My buddy Ace and I did. So let's see. Let's go on to number 89. Let me pull it up. Yeah, sorry, 84. Oops, I don't have a light in here. 8. Where are you? I can't see my keyboard. Sorry. I'm in the dark here. Okay, so number 84 is one. Again, another case of he's fine. I don't mind him being anywhere on the list. It's just not one of my faves, and I have every respect for him. And I think there are people better. That's all I'm saying. And that's of course Dennis Cowan.
Okay, can you give me 1 second? I'm going to need a beverage for this one. I'll be 2 seconds.
Oh boy, go for it.
Yeah, this might be a slight disagreement. 1 second.
Okay. No, it's cool. I like this work on the question.
Okay. All right.
All right. See, they're showing. This is what's ridiculous about one other thing about Tripwire, by the way. They're showing Dennis Cowan. They're idiots. These are Bill Sienkiewicz covers sometimes.
I know.
Morons.
Killing me.
Oh.
Jesus. If you wanted a nickname or a catchphrase for Tripwire, it would be half-assing it, they're just half-assing it. They're half-assing it. Now, in terms of influence, Dennis Cowan has had a massive amount of influence, and also he was he was to put pay to the idea that the comic industry was so racist. He was one of the golden fair-haired children of DC when he was working on The Question and Green Arrow, and he did a very long run on Green Arrow, and it was great stuff. It was really good stuff. And I'm not saying
like him fine. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do
Max Redstone, hail. Go ahead.
Hello, Max. Hello. I do think he belongs on the list, but I'm just going to bow to your discretion regarding placement.
No, look, he's fine on there. I just think there are people I like a little bit better, but I'm totally fine. We have nothing to see here, nothing to complain about. Fine artist.
It's the Aparo thing. He should not be higher than Aparo.
I don't think he's higher than Aparo. And there are guys that I think if you have to pick on shoes, of course, I don't know, that I would have over him on the list before I would have him on the list. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Oh, boy. 83. Jesus. All right, folks. 83. I'm just going to say it. This is an unpopular opinion because most people love this guy's art. Most people love this guy's art, and that's fine. I don't know. I don't know if you and I have ever had any conversations about number.
Your audio is going in and out from me. Hello? Hello?
Oh, remember? See, I can't. You hear me?
It's not your fault. It's internet
You hear
crap,
me?
and also, yeah, I can hear you. But I mean, the weather's been there's so many things going on with the internet. Everyone's complaining about this stuff, and I'm catching it a lot on other people's streams too. So don't worry about it. But just keep talking. You're fine now.
No, I'm just going to say thank you to the great Mark D with a C. I mean, if you ever feel like popping in later, you can, buddy. But it's up to you, man. He's probably busy, and tired for stuff. But he informs me that our good buddy Keely Chow. See, I can't see member chats, Keely, so I have to be told about him. He dropped a member chat. Says, just like Gary, Clobby owned a comic shop. That's a nasty rumor. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's a comic shop I wish I was able to attend.
I wish you would too. I wish you would have been there too, man. Never know. Talk to Captain Affinity about some time travel. You never know.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
So, yeah, Jim Lee is number 83.
Oh, shit.
Born, by the way, weird fun note. Born the same exact day as myself, same year and day.
Oh,
so we're the same age. Yeah, people really love his art. Not I. I'm not a big fan.
See,
he's all right. I mean, I guess,
but see, it comes down to sometimes people are mistaking a luminescent talent with journeyman quality and craftsmanship, and something can be done without mistakes, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's done with any form of panache or nuance or something that would bring someone to a great status. And I do think his early stuff I think it deserves recognition. I was not influenced by it. I was not inspired by it, but I can see why people really liked his work up until we hit around 1993. And then I'm just thinking, why?
Well, he's popular.
He's very popular. But he also was one of the few image guys that did a lot of rendering and sometimes over rendering, but he could keep it under control. And sometimes people just get distracted by the rendering. And that's all I'm going to say about Jim Lee.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it. I don't think I would have him on. He wouldn't be on any of my lists like this. And I think there are a lot of guys far, far better. Thank you, Max Redstone, for the $2 super chat. You were too kind, buddy. Says you can't spell Tripwire without twerp. That's for sure. You are correct. You are correct, sir. And yes, I mentioned it earlier about Stephen Greif. I'll talk about it more on Wednesday night, but thank you so much. Damn shame. Travis number 1.
Twerpwire. That's good, Max.
Twerpwire indeed.
And Maddie's daddy is funny. He says Clobby is Gen A.
I guess. That's true. Mark D with a C. Welcome,
hey.
dude.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope everyone had a good holiday. I figure if you want me to share the images, that might help your PC and you can see the chat. I'll just tell me, we're on Jim Lee right now, so I'll just that way you can see the chat and stuff.
I can't find a way to scroll them. I was trying. I mean,
I can do
it faster than me. Well, I appreciate it. I mean,
if you don't mind, glad to do it. Yep.
Put you to work like this, but if you
well, what else am I going to do tonight? Watch Knives Out again. I mean,
no. And happy Yuletide, Mark. I'm so pleased that you're here, and you are my favorite late night DJ voice.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a fun time last night to everyone that was there, and
it was gorgeous.
popped in, so it was a lot of fun. So
let
me.
Why'd they make me a raccoon though? Why'd it have to be a raccoon?
Well, Rocket Raccoon, and we do have a member chat, which I know you guys can't see on the StreamYard side from Chris Berger. Says, we all know Clobby owns a Wesley Crusher museum.
Oh,
True.
Yeah, you don't have you opened it up for the holidays to everyone last night, right?
I guess so. Whatever. Hey, whatever. I mean, I'll just agree to anything at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna, what can I do? What can I do?
Right.
They've found me out.
Ew.
Damn it.
Ew, that's some bad art right there. Ew.
I do like Jim Lee, but yeah, what do we go to? What number do we go to? 82 now.
82 is next. Yeah, 82 be next.
Who?
Hang on, I'm trying to find
Jean-Paul Leon. He's got a good name.
De Leon. All right, let's see here. Yeah, all right, here's another example. Let me pull it up here because I still have to be seeing it.
Yeah.
All right.
If you want to look at the
go ahead and
streamer,
scroll it, then I'll let you because I can't see it.
Yeah.
No, go ahead
It's
if you want
probably
to.
slow.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
If you could scroll it for me.
Yeah.
All right, this guy.
No.
Is he Is he even a comic book artist?
No.
That's a nice RoboCop there.
RoboCop's good.
Why? Why is he on the list at all?
Make it go away.
Because he worked for Milestone. I got you. Again, I just don't think this guy belongs in the top 101 comic book artists. I don't understand it. Why is he on here?
Looks like Jay Lee there.
Yeah,
he does look so. And Jay Lee didn't make the list.
It's so
sure Jay Lee was on the list. He'd be like maybe put him in the 300s or something, or
Hey, this guy. I mean, I get nothing against it, to be honest with you. I just don't think he belongs on the list.
It doesn't look professional compared to the other people thus far.
Right. Exactly. And I don't. Go ahead.
There was a term that one group editor used, and I heard him use, regarding people trying to break in when they weren't ready. And this would be occasionally used. It's an ugly term to some people struggling to become artists out there. I'm sorry. I'm just repeating the term, the group editor. And group editor is bigger than an editor. Okay. So group editor is like controlling many books instead of editing one book. And the phrase they would use is fanish. So that art is fanish, meaning you're close, but you're not professional yet. And that's the way I feel about that Jean-Paul Leon guy.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Jean-Paul. Nothing personal. Okay, number 81. Way
Maurice
too
Severin
damn low.
is only a tiny bit better than the last artist who I'd never heard of.
It's ridiculous. Maurice Severin.
Sorry,
Yeah.
good one. I think I got you with that one.
Good one, Mark.
I like to cover it up. And
I got tears in my eyes now. That's great. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Clobberin. Go ahead.
That's all right. Maurice Severin belongs way higher than this.
Yeah.
Maurice Severin was a wonderful artist, great inker as well as penciler.
Yes.
She did a lot of great humor comics. Her work with Herb Trimpe on Hulk, but a lot of other things too on Not Brand Eck, and I mean just a lot of stuff. She was around for a long time.
I loved her subbing. I loved her Namor
on Submariner. Oh my God, yeah. So this is bullshit. So all I know is I'm glad at least she's on the list. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, wait a minute. Go back to the Hulk thing there.
I know.
That's a Steranko cover with me to face. Okay, Tripwire, once again, she did work on the Hulk. She did interiors on this comic, but she did not do this image. It's a Jim Steranko freaking cover and with a redrawn John Romita Sr. face. You dummies. Don't make here's the thing. I might respect you a little bit more if you can make a goddamn list and get it right. Holy shit.
At least check.
And it's not the first time they've done it.
It's so stupid. It's funny. It's so incognizant. It's funny.
She didn't do that cover either. Holy shit.
She didn't do this cover either. Yeah, see,
I don't think
you know your artist. Yeah.
I'm going to need my inhaler before we're done.
My God, man. They did that with Byrne. They've done that with a couple of damn times. So what's all right? Holy shit. All right. Number 80 aggravates me a little bit. but let's just go for it. I hate to. I'm gonna say it every time. I have a lot of respect for Dan DeCarlo. He was a good humor artist.
Yes,
but
I really do like his Millie art. I know people thought.
Yeah, I like him.
And
He did a lot of artsy stuff. I have every respect for him.
And he's got one of the smoothest.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay.
He's
please.
got one of the smoothest fluid ink lines for outlines, particularly around women's hair and women's legs. That other people struggle really hard to rise up to, to be as good as. And I do understand why he's being put on the list, but I think I know where you might be going with this, and I'm just going to agree. So you go ahead, Captain.
No. Listen, we'll keep the speed up. We'll make some time because I have nothing bad to say about him. He's a good artist, a really good artist, and it's all fine and good. But I'm not sure I would have him on the list that omits some other guys that I think would be more significant. But it's fine.
I don't know. This drawing moves up
you draw the
few
ladies
notches for me.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Hubba.
So what's next?
79.
Next is all right. Now this. Oh God, I better watch my blood pressure. 79.
Oh no,
Jose Luis Garcia Lopez at 79. Now I'm gonna be fair here. I'm not saying he should be like a quantum leap above it, because he did more commercial artwork and covers than he did for interiors. He did a lot of interiors early on. The ones he did were significant, but he is more known for his covers and ad art. He's done some great interiors, but he's one of the most recognizable comic artists of the friggin' century. Just with stuff like that. They based the DC style book on this guy of the Bronze Age. I love him, and I just think he should be somewhere a little bit higher than this, certainly in the 40s, maybe.
And he is actually how you and I met, Clobby, because we were on Pauly, the Latino Slant stream, and he was talking about Latino comic book artists, and I said, Jose Garcia Lopez, ask Clobby, Clobby. Cool. And I didn't know who you were. I just saw, hey, this guy's got a Ben Grimm avatar. He's got to be cool.
I didn't know that. Wow.
And you said, yes, look him up. And you showed his art to Pauly, and Pauly was, wow. And that was how you and I sort of in quotation marks met. And I am a massive fan of Garcia Lopez. Always have been.
Stop 1 second on that cover. That was that dumb Commandy Challenge book. I mean, it's fine. It's his later art, but there are about 10,000 things I would show before that cover.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean, his style has changed so much, though, right? Wow.
But I'm with you. And I did not know that. It's a great Jonah Hex cover. Cool.
This is exactly what I'm just going to agree with you for a moment. So they're doubling. They're doubling on their incompetence because number one, they're getting the placements wrong, they're getting omissions, but then they're showing the wrong art of the artist they're talking about. They're choosing lesser examples.
And sometimes wrong examples, like they don't even on target. Wow. Yeah. What they did again. This shows how dumb they are, buddy. Because they got that because they were just looking up stuff she did, and she did do interior work on that comic book. Yeah. But they used the image from the cover because they're stupid.
Yes.
What else am I to conclude, Tripwire, that you're incompetent because you've done it more than once? Anyone can make a mistake, sure, but you're talking about you're putting yourself in a position to rank the greatest comic artist, and you can't look at a cover and know that they did not freaking do the cover. Wow,
it's laziness incarnate.
Yes, absolutely. Just
especially when you're putting someone in the Hall of Fame too. You want to make sure that it's work that they did.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
That's right, Mark, because they're speaking with authority here. This is what's killing me. They're speaking with authority about the 101 greatest ones.
It's not that hard to find out either. I mean, it doesn't take that much work to research.
That's true.
Look it up. And it's not like they're doing one. They didn't do 101 in 7 days. I mean, they put these out.
No, they did it over the course of 2 years. Yeah, it started like So, all right, Sean Phillips. I'm just going to make this quick work of it. No, nothing against you, Sean. Looks like a decent enough artist. But you're not a legend, and you certainly don't belong on this list. Not even in the top 100s. I'm sorry.
Agreed.
I mean, he's okay. I mean, look, it's just no. God, and again, omissions are important because you got this guy on instead of. I mean, I'll throw one omission at a time. I'll change it up a little bit instead of Dick Sprang. Just just ridiculous. All right, this guy. Then there's this guy right here.
What?
I'm not going to comment on his hair, so keep moving.
What?
If you would.
Hey, he's got hair at least.
Yeah. What are you saying? I got too much hair. Okay, good artist. Look, fine. But if you're on this list, I should probably know who you are.
I like that.
He's modern art. Yeah, it's okay. Is he one of the greatest artists of all time?
Never heard of him.
Yeah, well, and if you never heard of him, again, I've never heard of him, I don't think they belong on this list. I know that's snobbery, but
his work is competent, but competent does not necessarily deserve a place on this list.
No, this list is supposed to be rarefied air. So these guys, he's one of their buddies, I guess.
Not better than Michael Golden.
No.
Or Marie.
There you go.
Marie Severin. Marie Severin.
Yeah. Or Murphy Anderson or Alan Davis. No. All right, Gilbert Shelton. I respect Gilbert Shelton, but well, let's just look, and I'll show you what I mean.
Yep.
I don't. An underground artist shouldn't even be on this freaking list.
This is some of the notes I was writing, Clobby, because I'm just going to say it. There's going to be a slight rant here, and then we'll move along faster. Ugh. Okay, slight rant, but the original term was underground cartoonists, and now they're calling them underground comic book artists. And the thing about an underground comic book artist is they are a cartoonist who's not funny enough to be in national newspapers.
Right. It was a popular comic. Freak Brothers was popular. I never got into this underground shit in the 70s or 80s. I find that people like it and it's all that's cool and stuff. You're going to tell me that guy, all he had was he's a one-trick pony. He had one little style that worked for his little niche, and that's all fine and good. He is not friggin' Alan Davis, for God's sake. And he's not Jim Aparo. He's not any of these. He does not belong on this list, you snotty butts. But I'll give you this. Exactly. You couldn't confuse his covers with anyone else's and make that mistake. At least I'll give you.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing is that they're trying to conflate cartooning in a lot of this list with comic art book proper. And they're trying to blur the lines, just like Raquel complained about blurring the lines of genre. Okay, Oprah is not science fiction, and underground cartooning is not comic book art proper. Underground cartooning is cartoons done for a sort of naughty, adult, mature audience placed into a vertical comic book page format, and it is not in the same category as Starlin or Adams or Marie Severin or even Nicholas Scott, who might be politically a loon, but I still respect her art. This guy Gilbert should not have been on the list.
Mad Magazine doesn't really belong on this list. Any of the artists I can appreciate it as a subgenre, but
well done.
It's not mainstream. Yeah.
Now I respect Dan Zelanovich. I've seen his work for a long time. He's a great Golden Age artist. I don't know if I would really necessarily put him on this list, but he does some fine work. I mean, so fine that he's on there. I'm not going to bitch about it. I mean,
pretty damn nice stuff. Yeah.
I mean, he worked in a tough age, man. When they were getting treated like trash. Mm-hmm. Even more so. I mean, not that you didn't, because HB, you also did, because let's face it, the industry has always treated people like trash. But back then, man. Artists. Oh. Go ahead.
I was just because I would take my worst day in comic books and I wouldn't trade it for this guy's best day in comic books.
Oh no. Yeah, I know what you mean.
People weren't even getting proper credit in comic books up until the mid 60s. There are times where it's appalling when you look at a splash page and it's a glorious splash page and you don't even see who drew it. No, it's
horrible.
So I'm disagreeing with you. Let's move on.
Okay, now this is a bit of a head scratch. Look, I'm a big fan of Irv Novick. He's next. I kind of like this Flash better than this Batman, but he did a lot of Golden Age stuff too. So I'm glad he's somewhere on the list. I don't think I would have been higher than some of the people that he's over, for sure.
I wouldn't have him above Aparo.
No, not at all. I mean, Aparo is that's criminally low. But again, I know it's bias showing, but Aparo would be in my top 30 or 40, but so they can go to hell with what it. And so Murphy Anderson would be somewhere in the top 50s. So this is, at least he's there, and he belongs there more than some of the other people we've seen on this list. So good for Jim, good for Novik. Worked a long time. And he didn't do that cover.
He didn't do it.
He didn't do that freaking cover. So Neil Adams cover.
Neil Adams,
he did the interior. Again, they looked at the goddamn database and found an interior he did, and they used a Neil Adams cover.
We know Tripwire is listening right now, so let me just say, Tripwire, put down the bong. Put down the bong, Tripwire. Put it down.
How dumb do you have to be? Jesus, man. Oh. Look, you don't have to know a damn thing. You can read the damn thing on the database. You're right. You're right.
Probably
Steve.
don't know.
I'll come now.
They don't know the database probably exists.
But don't show the cover then. Just look. I love this flash right there. That's. And by the way, I bet they don't know that's from a calendar, but not from a comic. That's okay. It's fine. Okay, next. At least he's on there somewhere. Good Lord. All right, now this guy's a good artist. He's weird stuff, good artist, but I guess I didn't like Promethea that much. I'm like, it was not my favorite Alan Moore stuff, but he's different. I don't know. I would defer to our artist panelist in this.
I like his stuff before Promethea, and I like his stuff after Promethea.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just going to say that I met him when he was breaking in. Okay, and we were hanging out at an editor's house, and also a publisher's house. And I really respected his art technique, the way he looked at things, and we spoke philosophically about comic books. So I sort of have to abstain on my opinion about this because of the personal interaction.
I got you. I'll simply say he's fine. There are plenty of people I would have way over him, but but whatever. I mean, he's certainly a good artist. One of the all-time greats ever. I don't know about, but look, that's some fine work there. So it's just
his work definitely fits the Sandman. That style definitely.
Oh yeah,
can help elevate the story. I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Okay. Now this.
No.
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 I'm not going to pretend I know much about this guy. I've just seen it and I have to look at it. So this guy's a nobody and nothing personal. He does not belong on this list at all. I'm not going to say his name to be mean. Look. Again, this is more pretentious bullshit.
Yeah.
Time to move on.
And this is also just kind of. Well,
I like her cat.
Yeah.
Merce Fury, the first female comic character created by a woman.
Yeah, I can see why they have her on here. I mean, I have every respect for her as a standing because of what she did, but she wasn't that really great. She was an okay artist. There have been better female artists personally. I don't know. She might be a little high. Having her on here for historical reasons, but I'm sure they Googled it. They don't know. They did not know she existed. But yeah, Miss Fury was really the first female superhero, or hero character stuff. She went through a couple of changes, so they probably don't know that they're not really showing her version of. But again, the art's fine. I don't know about having her on the list, but little out of respect for her, whatever, go for it.
Groundbreaking.
Anything, Hungry Boy HB on that one or no?
I think that she is making the list. And what was that? You okay?
My pen blasted off.
Oh God, it sounded like a glass breaking. I was.
It did. No, it bounced off of a metal tumbler and flew back. It was really weird. I think I have an enchanted artifact. I've been watching too much Warehouse 13.
In fact, I think that is a supernatural sign. We need to move on to the next artist.
Yeah. Did Bullseye bounce something off here?
Yeah. We'll get a little caught up here then. Okay, great artist right here, Nestor Redondo.
Yes.
I won't really bitch about his placement, although I might. This is a criteria for me. I'll see what you think about this Hungry Boy. Love him, but did he really have that large a body of work? Andy Masterson, what's up, buddy?
Andy.
Hope you had a great Christmas. This is one of my favorites, artists of the 70s. Yes. But did he really have that, what you would call a large enough body of work?
I think if you look, well, he also did a fair amount of stuff for some lesser companies.
Yeah, he did work for Warren, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did a fair amount of work for Warren. So this is another thing I always have in the back of my head. Whereas we might look at people and say, well, how much did they do for Marvel, DC, etc. But I will always have in the back of my head, well, what did they do for Warren as well? Because sometimes people forget that. And not Mark. But
no. I got you.
He
You're
belongs
right
on the list. I do think he belongs on the list,
agree.
but I would put him about 15 lower.
Pleasant Valley Picker, good to see you. I love this rhyme of the Jungle Girl. That was short-lived. Yes. Watched him not even show the Bible. No, they didn't. Yeah. He actually did the Treasury edition, the tabloid edition of the Bible for DC. And if they did, they'd show the cover by Kubert and say it was him probably. So Nestor's fine on there. Fine. Every respect for Nestor. One of those many Filipino artists we've been talking about. Okay, this guy, Al Feldstein certainly belongs on the list somewhere, so I'm fine. This is no complaints here from me. I don't know about you.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine with it wherever. I mean, again, I wouldn't have it over some of the people that we've already passed, but I'm fine with being on there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because horror comics were a big part of comics history, and
that's great.
He did some spooky stuff, science fiction stories, and things like that. So
he did, and he had a very good imagination. And as you said, for a time, that was the bread and butter of the industry, just like superheroes were bread and butter of the industry for a while, and then for a while. In the 80s, it was all about martial arts, Punisher, guns, and there are peaks and troughs of genres in the industry, and he was right for the peak he was in.
Indeed.
And even Tripwire was saying he should be in the top 20 for his importance to the industry. So why do you guys why do you have him at number 69 then if you're saying he should be in people's top 20 for importance?
Yeah, good point. Don't worry, folks. I'm yelling. I'm not be yelling. Captain Infinity and Beyond.
Okay.
All right. Hello. Okay. I must be going. I cannot stay. I can't. Cave this. I must be going. I'm glad I came, but just the same, I must be going. La la. All right. This one, I don't think so.
Nope.
I don't think this person really belongs on. Nothing personal.
Nope.
I don't put him on the list.
He draws like Tim Sale working under a migraine.
Brutal.
I don't like that style. I don't like that style. That page is okay there. This one, but
okie dokie. Next, I mean he's all right, but I don't. Yep. Next is one I'm kind of. We're a couple of entries away from some more my next aneurysm. I like Brian Hitch. He's fine on there somewhere. I don't know about that high, but he was a good artist. I mean, he is still, I guess, right? I mean, I liked him. Okay, he did. I think I was reading Authority for a while when he did it. Nothing against him. I think he might be a little bit high, personally. I know it's only.
Well, the Ultimates was such a big hit.
67.
That's why.
But that's only 67. But he's not better. I mean, look at him. He's almost kind of a rip of Alan Davis. I think he is a rip of Alan Davis, to be perfectly honest with you. I think Alan Davis is better than him. I think, obviously, it goes without saying Aparo and Murphy Anderson and Carmen Evitino, but fine. I guess it's fine. What do you think about him being on there? Hungry?
I don't have this is going to sound like a broken record, and I got you. I warned people I was going to agree with you. I'm fine with him being on the list. Mostly, I would place him lower and replace certain people who are already low on the list higher than him.
Same here.
I'll be honest, if it's a choice of him being on the list or Cockrum being on the list, I would swap him out entirely for Cockrum.
Yeah, no comparison. Right. Donnie Pearson, good to see you there, my friend. Hope you're having a wonderful Christmas time. There's no comparison. All right. I like Matt Wagner. I used to like Mage. I thought Mage was a good comic. I was never big on Grendel, but
Mage was incredibly well written, but Matt had a problem back then with letting go and realizing some of his stories are better told by having other artists illustrate it.
Right. That's a good point.
And a lot of times his work is so simplistic, and it's so simplistic because his artistic mind is actually, in terms of finishes, quite limited. But it comes to a point of pride where some people have to illustrate their own work, even if it's not the best idea for that work.
Yep, he's okay. I don't think he belongs anywhere. If he's on the list, not this high for sure. Nowhere near this high.
No.
I mean, not even really on the list compared to some of the other guys. And yes, Andy Masterson, this list doesn't have Dave Cockrum, and you're right. Cockrum was way better than this and many people on the list.
Yeah.
He did the cover to this Green Arrow #1, or
I doubt it.
Doesn't look like him.
Well enough.
It doesn't look
I don't
like
think
him.
he did.
It's Tripwire. How do we know?
Yeah, I was just checking. It doesn't look like it.
You could look up, and it'd be tough to look it up, I guess, because they're like 50 Green Arrow #1s. But yeah, I don't think he did. So, all right. I'm going to have to tell you guys, you may want to cover your ears. I'm getting warning for the next
one. Let me turn my speakers down.
I'm turning my volume down, so I got earphones on. I'm turning down.
You ready?
Ahead. Yeah.
Warning everybody's ears. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What in the friggin' crap, Tripwire? Are you out of your friggin' mind? Nick Cardy at 65? Idiots, jackasses, holy mother of, this is when we get to the point of the list that drives me crazy. Nick freaking Cardy, one of the great, now granted, interior work is not what he's known for. I don't care. This guy did, I mean, you would be hard pressed to find someone who did more cover work than him and more distinctive cover work than him in the Bronze Age.
Yeah.
Look at these gorgeous covers.
Yeah. Yum.
65.
Very innovative with the waves there, with the different colors, and it draws you right to drawing you right into there.
I'd have him in the 30s tops at least, and this is just
only because that's one of my favorites right there. That one.
Oh, that's a great cover.
Oh my God! I show that to anybody who came to me and said, "Can you please teach me how to be a comic book artist?" I said, "Okay." Okay. I said, "Okay, kid, you're gonna have to look at some old stuff." I have to look at old stuff. Yeah, just like if you want to make a monster movie, you're gonna have to look at Universal. Okay, you're gonna have to watch some black and white movies. So I point to that cover and I say, this is essentially how it's done. Now I want you to analyze this over the course of 2 days and come back to me. And if you can give me 3 right answers out of 7, I'll consider helping you out. And that cover right there, it's like a litmus test right there. And the interior art was great, but and he did great interior art when he did interior art as well. But when you look at his covers, I mean, they're like, and I said this to someone else, I can't remember who. It might have actually been Thor Steve. They are like comic books taking the best of 1960s movie posters that will bring people to put their butts in the seats. They're movie posters for comic books.
They are. That's a great point. They are movie posters. It's covers, because the cover's supposed to be the thing that grabs you it makes you pull that thing off of that spinner rack. And his covers were, I mean, some of them, he's one of, if you were to do a list, and who knows, we'll do it one day maybe, of cover artists, of the greats. He's way up there as one of the greatest cover artists that ever lived.
Yeah, look how good that cover is. So.
Oh, and the fact that he's using the brilliance of it. Can I wax enthusiastic for a moment, Clobby?
Sure.
Okay, look at the way with Robin, he's using the solid blacks to bring him totally forward, and then he uses what's referred to as the open outlines to fill with color. So they didn't have digital back then. They weren't able to do fully painted covers, or they weren't willing to because they were more expensive. But that gives the illusion of a painted cover. It gives the illusion of something being 3D, something totally foreground and something totally background, and also a little bit metaphysical, a little bit supernatural, and it ticks every single box you can ask for in a cover.
He's just a master, one of the great cover artists, and that's an important thing in comics, especially back then. He was a good interior artist for sure, but he just made started making a real, like a living off the covers as well. And just a nice man. Got to meet him once. I got his book from him. But anyway,
like I said, you have to remember the covers could sometimes pay twice as much as an interior page. So we can't blame people for going to covers if they are offered that, especially when the industry is so awful. And a lot of this work that he's doing, he wasn't getting royalties. And today you get royalties for a cover, even if you just do a cover as well as doing the interior work. But people were not getting royalties back when he was doing these covers. So you had to go for the
you just got paid for the job, and that's it. Boom.
The single page rate. Yes, the single page rates. So if you could get 200 for a page, a cover, instead of getting 100, you had to go for it, and you'd be a fool to turn it down.
Yeah,
Next.
and the book sold bazillion copies. It wouldn't matter,
Yeah.
unfortunately, though.
And that's why Neil Adams was a big fighter for royalties, and then Jim Shooter stole his thunder with that, leaving that aside. That's another show.
Yeah. So let's pick up some speed here. I've not yet begun to yell. Okay. Harry Anderson, fine. Really good artist. Not someone who's as well remembered as some of these other guys.
Yeah.
Somewhere on the list for sure. Up this high, I can't say that I'm for it.
He's really good for the horror.
Great
genre.
artist. Yeah.
Really good for the horror genre.
I'm not
going
going
to
complain about it much.
Niche. So I'm
not going to
shut
complain
up on
about
this
it.
guy.
I'm not going to complain about it much. Yes. Next guy's a little low, probably. I mean, Reed Crandall, for God's sake.
Oh, ouch.
I think it's a little bit low.
Ow.
I'm sorry. I mean, he was just
yes,
extraordinary.
Yes. I mean, again, you look at somebody who can ink their own work and do it so beautifully. Geez.
This guy was a master.
This guy was what in the industry we called an all-rounder. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
So,
yes, absolutely. So not much to bitch about here. The next one is another one of those examples of I really like the guy, but I don't think he did enough. Dave Mazzucchelli, I like him.
I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, no, that's fine. We don't have to like him. I love Daredevil Born Again. It's one of the great works of all time, in my opinion. I just adore this comic. Yep. I love this work. I kind of liked him on Batman Year One. It was a little bit different, but we know where he gets a lot of his style from, which is fine. I just don't see him not necessarily on this list because he didn't do a lot. And he did a lot of hacky stuff before this, to be quite honest with you, like that, where he was just trying to rip Miller. I love this right here, of course, because that's mostly, Klaus Janson. But I don't think he belongs this high. If you could have him on the list at all, I personally wouldn't have him this high because what are his claims to fame other than some Daredevil work and some Batman work? What else does anyone know him by?
Nothing.
I know he did some like other stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's just. There you go. Rubber Blanket. Who read Rubber Blanket? Anybody here? No, nobody.
I didn't.
Let's be honest.
Well,
I didn't buy it, and I like the guy.
The only thing I'm going to say about Mazzucchelli is like, if somebody decided they were going to make a stew or a goulash out of Alex Toth and Will Eisner and not try to ink it too finely, and that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I always say it was kind of a Alex Toth rip. Okay, number 61. I'm not going to say anything about the placement. Brian Boland is a great artist.
Too slow, but too low.
He's too slow, but too yeah. Thing is, most of his interior work was over across the sea, but I loved his Judge Dredd stuff. But he was slow, like you said, slow as molasses. He became known mostly for a comic book cover artist, and since that's the case, I'm fine with him being down here. Although he could be higher.
His stuff for DC in terms of covers in the 80s was quite magical, and it's some stuff that was inspiring, and I will say was also influential on a lot of us when we started learning to ink our own work or inking the work of others. So I'm happy that he's on this list, and I'm not going to argue with the placement. Yeah,
he could be too low though, but his covers are so extraordinary. But the thing is, when was the last time he did a full interior? Well, I mean, was Killing Joke the last real interior he did? I don't know, but it's got to be somewhere up there. But his covers are astounding, so you could definitely make a case for him to be higher. Just like Cardi, Cardi, even though they were mostly cover work, it was still just outrageous. And the next one, holy shit! Here we go again.
You swore.
Counting down.
Swear jar.
Counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No. I want to make this plain, everybody. This is for our dear departed friend, who this show will always be named after, Mark C. And for me, Mark C. adored Alex Toth. Mark C. knew comic book art. He was an artist himself, and Mark C. would want to throw up if he saw this. 60. Yeah. Alex Toth. Half the people on this list, almost all of them were influenced by Kirby, and about half that number were influenced by Alex Toth. One of the most influential comic artists who ever lived, and these jackasses have him at 60.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Unconscionable. And
Absolutely.
might I add, he was so good at what he did, he ended up getting a great secondary career in animation.
Oh, yeah. Some of your finest animations, some of the cartoons you grew up loving. Alex Toth.
No Johnny Quest without Alex Toth. No Johnny
Space
Quest.
Ghost.
And also, he also was influential in some of the Scooby-Doo stuff in the good years, which are the first 2 years only, 69 and 70.
He was just a master, man. It's just
and
so many of the
Super Friends.
Super Friends, true, yes. So many people, in the industry came studying him.
Yes. And he could do minimalism. He could draw a panel with 3 people and a minimalist background and solid blacks and use only 50 lines, or he could go with 100 lines and do just as well. He was a master of balance. And that one is for you, Steve.
Look at the panel arrangement right here.
Master of balance.
Look at the panel arrangement on here. Some of this, I mean,
very
Will Eisner, very Eisner-ish, Eisner-esque, I should say. Yes, sir.
His art is it's like cheesecake. It's like cheesecake from the best place in New York. It's like cheesecake, Bubby.
Graded action sequences. Look at that. I mean, yeah. So 60 Tripwire go away.
Ow.
We're not done with you yet, though. All right.
He said Toth was an artist who wasn't particularly prolific.
What?
What? Is that? Did I read that correctly? A little like Jim Steranko. Toth wasn't particularly prolific.
And yet you put Steranko in the top, and they put Steranko in the top 20, who was far less prolific than Toth. This makes this list is it.
And then
did you guys even talk to each other when you made this list? Go ahead.
But so many modern artists cite him as a huge influence.
Yeah, he's not prolific, but he had an influence, like unbelievable influence.
Look, Clobby, and I've said this from the moment we started interacting in the chat. And I apologize for this phrasing, because I love certain stylistic executions of layout, as we mentioned earlier in the stream. I am a Steranko whore, but I would never place Steranko over Toth in this list.
Me either. At least John Severin's fairly right. I mean, John Severin was was another great artist.
At least it's a broken leg and not a broken neck, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to see John Severin high up on the fairly decent spot on the list. I won't complain about this one. So we can move on to the next one and make some time.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you look at his art, of course, first. Show his art first.
Yeah.
But oh man, he did some incredible work. And of course, they won't get it. They won't show. They're not very good at showing the best examples, but these are some good ones here. I'll give him. A lot of his Western stuff. Of course, he did a lot of stuff on Hulk with his sister.
Yes.
John Severin was a master.
Yes, and occasionally he would work for people aside from Marvel and DC too. Not as much as some of the other guys we're going to get to, but a lot of this list is not taking into account certain things that should take into account. I mean, when I went through this list, I was seeing almost no mention of work done for Warren magazines, and a lot of that was very, very important for a lot of the artists that they're going to mention. I mean, Starlin's did a fair amount of work for Warren. A whole bunch of other people did. Cockrum did work for Warren. And even if Warren was screwing people over or being really frustrating to people, creatively, he was a good guy to work for. And that let the art really shine. So that let people show that work to Marvel and DC and get their foot in the door.
Where's 58? They left off 58. That's a huge omission. Oh, my God.
Oh, here's 50.
No, you didn't. Sometimes they leave it off. These idiots, they skip.
Oh, let me check.
You got to see if you can find 58. Because I ain't leaving him out.
Numbered it wrong. Yeah, they numbered it wrong. Yep.
No, I think they just. List? There he is, Marshall Rogers. There you go. All right, 58. Okay, here's.
Who's that?
This is. I'm aiming this at. All right, everybody, listen. I'm aiming this at Tripwire, not Marshall. Marshall Rogers was a wonderful artist. I have no problem him being on this list this high. But to say Alex Toth was not prolific, but to have Marshall Rogers did a lot of art, but I mean, he was no more or less prolific than Toth. So I love Marshall Rogers, but his finest work right here.
I gotta say, this is one of the first Batman comics I ever read. My grandfather brought this home for me.
Oh, lucky
and
you.
That's a great cover.
That's like starting
I can see
with
when
the best.
I can see when my grandfather picked that up on the newsstand, right? That grabbed his eye.
Cover.
So we
definitive Batman. Love it.
Also,
my favorite, probably my favorite Batman artist.
My favorite Clayface story is his Clayface story.
Oh, great! Yeah, he's my favorite Batman artist. I mean, I love his Mr.
Really?
Miracle. Yeah, I think he's
Really?
my favorite Batman. Yeah, he probably is.
Oh.
I love his. Look at this. Good God, that's when Terry Austin didn't hurt. Didn't hurt that it was Terry Austin doing the inks. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite phases of Austin. So I'm real and phases of Roger. So it's like what they refer to in films as lightning in a bottle when you get that perfect combination of penciler and inker, and also in the original print versions, which I used to have versus the other reprints and later on digital, the perfect coloring for it, and it was lightning in a bottle.
Indeed. So let's move.
Yep.
Because
like Lennon McCarthy. Yep.
Yep. I have no problem with him being that high because he was great.
So I guess,
and I have no problem with Joe Manili being this high either because he died with a tragedy at a very young age. The guy was a brilliant artist. I mean, he was.
Wow.
He would have been.
Yeah. Mark, you always was like, anytime there's a really juicy, horrific cover that would make Raquel hide under the blankets, Mark's like, yeah.
Yeah, go back to that one.
Oh, dude.
Raquel can't look at that one. Don't look, Raquel. Don't look.
He died in a very tragic like subway accident because he left his glasses at some bar or something. The guy couldn't see very well.
Yeah.
Oh man, terrible, but he would have gone on to be one of the greats. And this may be a little high, but the guy did a lot of great art.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have no problem with that.
He's number 57. So let me go to number 56 here.
All right.
Thank you, Mark, for helping out with the placement and letting us see all this stuff because it was driving Clobby and I crazy beforehand. Thank you.
Okay. Sound ear warning again. You ready?
Oh, turning down. Okay.
All right. Noise alert again, folks. Red alert. You ready? Are we ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. John freaking Romita Sr. Really? At freaking 56? Are you out of your goddamn minds? Tripwire. I don't give about the cursing. I'm going to be demonetized. I don't care. Screw them. You did Cats on America Comic Smasher. That's worth it right there. Look. I love.
Is this junior? Is this junior? Or this is senior.
Senior.
Yeah, junior.
I'm joking. Yeah.
Oh God.
Look. I love Ditko Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong. But Romita Sr. is my favorite Spider-Man artist. I'm sorry.
I agree.
He's just, I mean, I love it. I know it looked like Archie comics and it was drawn like that, but look at this, man. It was very clean style, granted. It wasn't complicated. It did need to be. It was just, oh my God, man.
But again, it goes back to like what we said with Toth. It's balance. He knew the solid blacks. He knew when to render, when not to render. And I would say, and I said this in a stream with Thor Steve probably last year or nearly a year ago, I said Romita did the best hair in comic books. Nobody did hair better than Romita Sr.
Yeah, well, somebody let the hair go to their goddamn brain at Tripwire. You guys are freaking idiots.
As one of the key figures of the Silver and Bronze Age, John Romita is identified with the household ideas as much as any of his peers, and also arguably contributed as much as anyone. One of the legends of the industry.
But we'll drop him down at
number 56.
But we'll leave him at 56 because we're idiots.
Oh,
idiots!
And just to agree with you, and this is all I'll say on Romita Sr., for me, he is the definitive Spider-Man artist. When I think of Spider-Man, I think of Romita Sr.
Too. And hey, that's not a knock. I love Ditko. He's the creator and always will be.
Yeah.
But yeah. So sorry, everybody. Next. Because the next one will give me a little of a reprieve from what's coming up right after it, but I'm gonna probably need to sit back from the computer. Michael Zulli at number 55. I like Puma Blues. Club was a big fan of that. But I don't know about. I looked like the art on it. I never read it, but Aardvark Vanna. Why is he?
I'll tell you why he's on. I will tell you why he's on, because he was a very popular and important Sandman artist. So therefore, they got to include him. That's why he's here.
And he was better than John Romita.
Okay.
Mark, damn it, my blood pressure now.
Hey, we've lost Mark, everybody. Yeah. Good artist, I guess. I mean, it's fine. You're going to tell me this guy is better than Alex Toth and John Romita and Nick Cardy and
or Boland,
Jim Aparo or Brian Boland? No. You must be out your damn minds.
In the 150s or something, yeah.
Okay, let's get it over. Let's get this next one over with.
It's the site sucks, so it's slow. So yeah.
And number 54.
I'm just shout again.
5.
I'm backing away from the microphone.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why is it blank?
Oh, all their images are broken.
Good. They deserve. They're listening. Gil Kane at 54. You out of your ever mind? God. Damn you all to hell. I'm going to get demonetized. I don't care. Screw off. With Gil Kane at 54. You freaking idiots. One of the most prolific. On a personal level, he's in my top 3 or 4. I mean, he's one of the greatest artists who ever lived. But even if I'm being objective, he makes the top 10 or at least top 20 minimum. If he were in the top 20, I wouldn't yell too much.
For me, top 7.
Oh, he's top 10. But I'm saying if he got to the top 20, I would be like, that's a little low, guys. I wouldn't be upset. I would be like, that would make it questionable. This is absolute goddamn garbage.
So, I mean, it's just an outrage. It is an outrage.
It is an outrage.
And for me, this basically is one of the examples of them not taking into account the reality of what the comic book industry is, the reality of the aesthetics of comic book art, and them just choosing placement for the sake of choosing placement. And they knew they had to include him, so they put him here. And it just everything.
Idiots.
I mean, Clobby, you and I could talk on a stream without losing a breath for an hour and a half about the merits of Gil Kane and what he meant to the industry and what he meant to us and influence and how many people, Byrne included, all himself.
Of them. Yep.
Byrne said that if you want to learn anatomy, you look at Gil Kane because he draws people like they're showing all the muscles with the skin taken off. And that's a direct quote from the X-Men Companion when Byrne was interviewed. That goes back to 1981, 1982. And he is right. And you look, and this is the first guy to really make feet a star. It's like the ultimate middle finger to Rob Liefeld before Rob Liefeld was out of diapers. And I mean, the feet, the fingers. And you know what? Cat Ironwood, you know, with what you said, and Clobby reiterated what Cat Ironwood said about Gil Kane. Cat, you can go sit on an oversized Queensland pineapple lubricated with sriracha sauce hard and no thank you or please firsthand.
You remembered that, did you? Wow.
Oh, nostril guy.
It says something about if you like nasal shots, and I was just trying to be Ralph Cram. I stopped in my mind. It was Ralph Cram going, "You want a nasal shot, Alice?
Yes.
Cat, you want a nasal shot? You're going to the moon."
And she says that about Gil Kane, and one of her favorite artists is All Red. Not saying anything. I'm leaving that one in the air.
Is she even alive?
Probably. Yeah. You know, the bad ones never die.
Yeah, this is a classic, right? One of his many classics right here. And again,
I mean, who doesn't remember this one? Who hasn't seen these panels and how tragic and how well drawn that is?
No, it's brilliant. It's great storytelling. He was as prolific with interiors as he was covers.
And also, this is the guy that introduced us and designed the Abomination in Hulk.
Yep, and I love his Green Lantern. I mean, I can do whole shows about him. So let's move on. Let's make some time here. But shit on you. So
I'm sorry if I went over the top there, but this one personally, this one hurts me. this one hurts me as much as other people are going to get hurt about Kurt Swan. You know,
I hear you, but I'm the one yelling. So go ahead. But anyway, the next one is it just shows how foolish these people are.
Come on,
That's fine.
Tripwire.
All right, this next one shows that this is. I'm not. Look, I love my British friends, but they're just picking British artists and putting them just because they're British. I mean, I like the guy, but
just because they're British.
This one's just British. It's a British pick. Overkill Kane. Are you shitting me, Steve Dillon? Oh, he's fine, but no, he doesn't belong on the list.
His work is bland.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've liked some of his stuff on some of the Marvel UK things here and there. I mean, and stuff, and it's all fine and good. But not only do you have him on this list way too high, you have him Overkill Kane and Alex Stubb and John Romita. What is wrong with you, idiots? So let's just bypass him. I know it probably won't load anyway.
Yeah, none of the art's showing up.
They're listening. They said, we're not letting him show
They're listening.
Okay, 52 is Darwin Cook. I like Darwin Cook's work a lot, but he, in my opinion, and rest his soul. Yeah. I always think he's it is an imitative style of a few different sources. I'm not going to get all that into it. Dunga Boy can do it if he wants to. No. But I like him. I just don't think he should be this on this list.
His death is too recent. So for people who have died recently, I'm never. Basically, I leave those alone. That's just me. Okay,
it's a fair cop. No, fine.
I did like his work. Yeah,
I liked his work. Fine, I really did. Yeah, so I'm not going to knock him either. Let's go on.
Tripwire's side is all screwed up.
Let's leave the great Darwin Cook alone.
Can you guys give me a moment? I just I have to. I actually. Please don't laugh at this, but I actually have to take some medications.
Go for it, dude. No, we got you. We got
nothing to laugh at. Yeah.
We will talk to the.
We'll get the next few loaded up. I'm just going to cue some of these so we can go faster.
Nothing against Steve Dillon either. Just don't think he belongs that high. You know what I mean? I think they're on to us. Captain Finity and beyond says Steve Dillon's best work was Laser Racer, Press Button, and a Warrior. I agree with that. Warrior Magazine. That alone is top. Wow. I just don't think it puts him in the top of all-time artists. Or Dadman Walking. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Dadman. And I'm just going to show while we're waiting for Hungry Bob.
That's a good point, J.D. Lewis. I forgot in the heat of the thing. Yeah, when I was so mad, I didn't even think about it. But once again, they show a cover not by the artist that they're talking about. A Carl Burgos cover instead of a John Romita Jr. cover, but they're idiots.
There's some of Darwin's Cook work, just so yeah, some very cool, kind of cartoony, if that makes sense, but really great style. Yeah.
I love it. I mean,
yeah.
Nothing wrong with it at all.
Yep.
So, we can go ahead to the next
Johnny
one.
Craig. Yeah.
Who's next?
Johnny Craig.
Okay. Again, Johnny Craig. Fine. I just don't think Hungry will be back in a minute. So you can just go ahead and
yeah,
whatever
just
it's not even loading, is it?
Yeah, just not to
not
slight
even loading, person, is it?
But, yeah. No, it's not even loading. Yeah, they've been deleting their industry. So I'm gonna go to let me get number 49.
Well, I want him to comment on 50, so I'll wait for him.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna load some of these. And hail to Dadman. Hope you had a great Christmas, buddy.
Dadman and the Dadman clan. Hope you had a great Christmas, sir. Let's see.
Okay, back.
All righty.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
No problem, buddy. Captain Finity. I really did like Laser Racer Press Button. So yes, I like Steve Dillon on some of those Warrior books. Good stuff. All right, so Johnny Craig was 51. We didn't have much to say about him. We're just going to move along. Unless you had something to say about him.
Frank Whiteley above Kane. Are they kidding?
Oh, did I skip 50?
We got to get 50 first. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, we will get to Whiteley. 50 is interesting. 50's a great artist, but man, he hardly did comics. Mike Plug.
I have. This is all I'm going to say. I think because he did work for heavy metal, the movie, and he also did a lot of work for Ralph Bakshi in Wizards, one of my favorite movies. I think they're adding him in because of that reason, because we know that Tripwire is not taking things into comic book proper context. They're getting mushy with context, and they're conflating things. So I think that's why Plug is here.
Fair enough, but he didn't. I mean, he didn't do a lot of comics. They're the ones knocking people for not being prolific.
I know.
I mean,
yes.
No, I mean, Plug didn't do a lot.
No,
I love him.
He did as much as he could with the early 70s monster comics, but
right,
it wasn't a great length and breadth of work. So I'm just agreeing with you. And now you guys talk, please.
No, go for it. So Mike Plug, great artist. 50 is a little bit crazy because of how little he did. He was, I mean, amazing. I see him all the time on in fact, he had a really interesting post the other day on Facebook where he talks about how all the stolen art of his. So anyway, but Mike Plug, great artist, it's a little high. Okay.
I've had art stolen too. So yeah.
I'll have to say, I mean, one of these days I want to tell you about that article, but okay. Number 49 is Frank Quitely, folks. I love All-Star Superman. I even like this X-Men book. I don't know why he's on this list at all. And I certainly think he doesn't belong at no 49, for God's sake.
I think he started with the Brits, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a Brit.
Right. So there's your.
He started. I think his first American work was on Invisibles or Flex Mentallo, maybe, or whatever the hell it was, but with Grant Morrison. But yeah, I mean, look, it's just he's fine, but
placement
just it's crazy. Here's another one: Kerry Nord at 48. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
I like him. He's okay. I like this Daredevil with Carl Kessel he did. He, like some of his Conan stuff that he's done relatively recently, but really, he's better than John Romita Jr. and Alex Toth.
John Romita Sr., you mean?
I mean, senior. Was not better. I'm just kidding. Yeah, right. Oh,
that was my joke that I threw in.
Because he might be better than John Romita Jr. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he is better. He is better. So, I'll give you that, Carrie. But he's better than Jim Aparo.
No.
No way.
Starstruck.
All right. Number 47. This is for you, Captain Infinity, if you're still here, buddy.
Yeah, he's
Michael Kaluta. Okay, here's what one thing I have to say about Kaluta here, Cap. Great artist. And you and our friend Captain Infinity is a big fan of Starstruck.
Yes, as am I.
Great artist. A lot of cover work. Not somebody who did a lot. Again, we're talking about a guy who didn't do a lot of interiors. There's another one you have to keep placing him above everybody. I love his Shadow comic, by the way. I just think I would have him maybe a little bit. I wouldn't have him over some of these other people. But I love his cover work. And I didn't read Star Trek. I know Captain Infinity did. I think this is a little high, to be honest. I just only because I mean, maybe not so much a little high because there are probably some people above him that he's better than. He didn't do a lot of comics that frequently. He was not prolific, as this list likes to always point out. But I'm fine with him being there because he's a great artist. I'm just saying, but not above any of the ones I was just yelling about. I'm sorry, not above Gil Kane. It's just not right.
Yeah.
All right. Wait. You keep. You're jumping the gun.
I think Mark's jumping the gun just to wind me up and see me explode.
Oh, did it? Sorry.
Well, the last one. Oh no. Well, yeah, let me cover it up then. So I want to get. We're going out of order. Let me back up a little. It's all right. No, it's fine. Your phone. Kerry Nord. Okay. Kaluta. No. Okay. Down Perez. No, you were right. Perez. Okay.
Perez.
Okay.
46.
Are you shitting me?
46.
George Perez at 46 is a travesty. You guys whine about prolific, and the guy was, plenty prolific.
Oh, this just gets
one of the most beloved artists of all time, the greatest team artist, the ultimate in the superhero crowd artist, and you got him at freaking 46. You're nuts. I mean, you guys don't know anything. You don't know what you're talking about, man. You really don't, Tripwire.
They don't know the definition of what makes a great comic book artist. Like I said, they're conflating cartooning, they're conflating underground work, they're conflating this and that. And if you look at, if you have a list of 7 boxes, which mean if you get 5 out of these 7 boxes ticked, you're a great comic book artist. If you look at all the boxes you can tick, George Perez ticks every single box out of that 7. Every single box.
Yeah. Yep. This guy belongs in the top, I'd argue top 10 maybe, but certainly top 20. You guys are freaking idiots.
Gotta be top 10.
Well, there's a phrase that goes back to at least the 1920s, which is willfully ignorant. It's not just being ignorant because of lack of knowledge. It's like you're choosing not to know.
Yeah.
And this part right here is willfully ignorant.
I'm lucky to have a signed cover of that I'm looking at right now.
Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh,
Yeah, this
is signed by George when I met him. Yep.
You guys are just
Mark.
Screw you, friggin' Tripwire. You guys are morons. What's next? We'll get some speed going here.
So
45. Okay, look, I like Gene Colan. He's better than Gil Kane and George Perez, though.
No.
I like Gene the Dean.
I love Gene the Dean.
I love
Gene
him.
the Dean is great, especially when George Klein inked him. When he had the right inker, when he had George Klein or he had Tom Palmer, his work was unstoppable. His Tomb of Dracula stuff is seminal.
Great.
It is seminal. But
incredible. Yeah.
The thing is,
Daredevil.
I don't agree with Shooter in the way that Gene was treated. I don't agree with people, as you know, when people started getting into we need to modernize comic books in the mid-70s, how Gene was getting phased out. But the thing is, he should not be above Perez. He should not be above
Kane.
Yeah. And so I hate that you get put in a position like that, because he was, to me, I still love his, Howard the Duck and things like that, but I love his Daredevil the best, but I do love his Tomb of Dracula. And so, yeah, just not up there. I'm just sorry.
Right. And am I talking too much when I chime in, Clobby? Do I need to dial it back?
Are you kidding me? No.
Okay.
Because
it's just if I do, just let me know. I get enthusiastic and I'm sorry.
I'm just no, dude. You're here. That's why I had
good
you.
Passion.
All
right.
But in fact, I wanted you to take this one. I was trying to get. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, you ready?
This one's all for you. Yeah, I was trying to say that before you got to it, damn it. Okay. I was trying to set him up for it, ease him into it. So please go for it. I leave the floor to you, Daniel Clowies.
Clowies.
I know.
Yeah, but or clowns. Daniel Clowns, as I call him.
Why is this guy on this list?
Because it's a hipster list. True. It's a hipster list. You're already demonetized by this point, so I'm going to use this word. It's a wanktard list.
It's a wank. Yes, I'm glad I talked over you there. I'm still going to hope not to be, but
the situation is that this is the guy who made the comic book that inspired so many little girls who wanted to be Daria when they saw her on MTV. Ghost World can go suck an emu egg, okay? The thing is, when you look at his work, it is basically underground comic books from 1978. Again, I will stress, put into a vertical comic book format. And he's basically just doing stuff that is the kind of work that would be, and I don't chide him for this part, a salutation to his wife. And I understand that. Okay. But you don't do something that is a personal cartoon and label it greatest comic book art of all time on this list in this context. This is completely out of context. This is like having greatest Broadway musical dance numbers of all time and having some guy doing tap dancing on a street corner with a hat to accept coins being put on that list.
I'm right there with you, man. He just doesn't belong anywhere on this list for me.
Did I go too hard?
No, sir. That's what you're here for, man. Be you.
All right. Okay.
We love you,
And
man.
I
You get something to say about
appreciate him
this.
for what he is, but he is a cartoonist. And like I said, underground comic book artists are people who are not funny enough to get into the newspapers. And that's him. That is
go.
Klaus.
Yep, there you go. Next up is is
Gene
Adam
Colt.
Hughes.
Wait. It got messed up here. What? Let's see here.
Backwards.
These numbering.
Oh, God. Thank God. Mark is
Tripwire.
here.
This darn thing. 44.
Thank you, Mark.
So it should be
We
43.
appreciate you, brother. So I
There
wasn't
we
trying
go.
to put you to work, man. You volunteered.
No. I'm glad to
Okay.
help. Yep. Otherwise, you'd be pulling
Great.
your hair out.
Great artist.
Totally
But he's
doing
done-
Scotty for the Enterprise here, Mark. We're facing off with the Romulans and you're helping us against the superior technology. Thank you. Thank you, Scotty.
This is a great artist for covers. And again, he was another example of a guy that didn't do a lot of interior work. He's known for posters and covers.
Thank you, Thor.
He draws the ladies really nice.
Yeah, well.
Alan Hughes can draw the ladies now. I like the stuff.
Well, so can Frazetta, and we're going to be getting to that
Right.
later.
Yeah, he did a great job on the interiors of the Star Trek Dead of Honor comic,
Yes.
graphic novel, as they say, which really was one. But watch their examples. I would be surprised if they have any interior
Oh,
examples.
man.
Yeah,
All their
but of
examples
course,
are going to be covers, probably.
George
Wow.
Perez wasn't
Go
known
for
for Wonder Woman, right? That's why he's higher than George Perez on the list, I guess.
That's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I bet they're only going to show covers.
I mean, it's good art. It's good art, but yeah.
Mark, I
Not-
swear to God, you are the lamp wick to my Pinocchio.
Did he do?
Well, this is
one of those
good,
dumb
Doug.
Watchmen
Yeah,
sequels?
thank you for that, Huggy. But yeah, this is good stuff. But yeah, just
Screw
it's
that.
the- where you
It's
put
one of
it
those
on.
dumb Watchmen prequels.
I hate that.
No, but I like
I'm
the
sorry,
art.
I hate that.
I like the
hate
art. But,
that.
yeah. All
That's
right.
Tumblr crap. That's just
Me-
Tumblr crap. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's not. I'm not saying his work is Tumblr crap. I'm saying that particular example you showed was Tumblr
Right.
crap because he did better work before that, and then it's kind of like he was adjusting his style to try to be popular with people younger than him. And it's almost like since their work is lesser, he lowered the standard of his own work with that particular example.
Yeah, he just drew it on the computer. I don't think he belongs in the top 50.
No,
I don't think he
Definitely
belongs
not.
above any of the big names that we were yelling about just now. So let's move
I put
on.
him at 65. I would put him at 65 or lower.
Show me how many interior comics he's done.
Yeah, right.
I want to know how many interior comics he's done.
That's going to be the
Don't-
argument.
I'm not
about
telling
Neil
you what to
Adams,
look at.
though.
Yeah,
That's
but
going to be the argument about
but
Adams.
compared to this guy, though, Neil Adams is way more. All right, Mike Zeck, Jesus H. Christ on a popsicle stick. Now, Mike Zeck at 42. Mike Zeck, folks. Did these children like grow up reading Secret Wars or something and Punisher in the 80s? Holy.
Oh, Tommy, I'm going to need
Why?
an extra pill. I'm going to need an extra
Sorry.
pill. You're too funny.
Zeck read Marvel's Secret Wars. Man, I knew they were kids in 1984, I guess. Mike Zeck. I never liked him. His people look like apes to me.
Ow! Oh, man. I
He's
never heard
better.
that one.
They
Really?
look like
No.
gorillas to me.
A little more, Clobby. A little more. So what?
Look at
what
this Captain
else?
America. I can't stand him. I never
Oh.
liked his art that much.
So is it the distortion in the figures that you don't
In the
like?
faces. Yeah, I don't
Right.
like, look at. I don't like this cap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. So that guy's better than Gil Kane.
He's a pretty popular artist. I
He's
would
better
say.
than Jim
I'm not
Aparo.
saying-
He's better than
My
Nick
problem
Kari.
is Perez. My problem is
He's better than
Perez.
Perez?
Yeah,
Garcia Lopez. Putting him above Garcia Lopez, who is, I mean, we already spoke about him. I don't need to reiterate. We're trying to catch up for time. But putting him above Perez and Garcia Lopez is just it's
Yeah, that's where you-
it's trying to be the film Dumb and Dumber. You're trying to be Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey right here.
It'd be like if you put him in the 80s or something. Yeah,
Right.
or 90s or
I got you.
whatever.
If you
That's
want,
so-
if you want just to Google, if you'd rather just use a Google explanation every time, might be quicker, and I can just
Well,
name them off. I
now
haven't
that
written
these-
down.
Now that these numbers
haven't
aren't
written
working
down.
anymore. Yeah, let's see. With Zach, I'm gonna say 41, and then
All right,
and I'll
number
Google. Then I'll
41.
Google it if the seems like all their links got
41
broken.
is well, they're
Oh, it seems
they're
like
listening.
all
they're
their
on
links
to
got
it.
broken.
They're on to
Yeah.
us.
It seems like all the links are broken. And now you'll remember you'll remember this from SNL. Isn't that special?
Yeah. I like Zek okay. I just never was a big fan. I don't think he belongs that high. I think it's outrageous. Jim Starlin at 41. You can make a case this is a little bit on the low side.
No, it's a lot on the low side. No, it's a lot on the low side.
It's a lot on the low side. Top 30, top 20. I mean, they got him at 41.
When
that's
you
better
look
than being like, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say I'm just gonna bring up an example, and then you can wax enthusiastic about it. When you look at the original Warlock discovering he is the Magus and then dealing with the Magus narrative cycle, you talk.
Yep. Nope. Nothing to say there. Sure. I love this book right here. So 41, really? Wow.
41. I mean, Death of Captain Marvel graphic novel guy.
Oh, it's beautiful.
At 41.
I love his Dreadstar too.
Dreadstar was wonderful. Dreadstar was wonderful, but I like it when it started out more than when it got
it got kind of crappy later. Yeah. It was kind of crappy later. Captain Affinity.
Okay, ready for 40?
On fire.
Well, I'm actually quite honored. You remember my favorite artist? Thank you. Hey, I know who yours isn't. Yeah, we're getting to who mine isn't later, Captain Affinity. Yeah, buddy. Anyway, so number 40 is Jerry Robinson. Now, he was a fine artist. I have every respect and love for Jerry Robinson, but it's just like they just picked the name out of a hat from the Golden Age and said, well, Robin, okay, go. Look, top-notch artist, but Dick Sprang's not on the list, but he is.
Yeah.
It's with a J, but
the J. See what Geary has done to me?
Geary. Jerry Robinson, was a fine, great Batman artist. I'm not going to knock him. Let him be on the list high, fine. God bless him, as you would say, Mark, after I've been saying all these horrible things tonight. I don't think he should be that high. I'll just leave it at that. I love him. I have respect. He was a really good artist. But if they want to have him that high, fine. I just don't know, really. I mean, compared to some of the people he's ahead of, I think it's a bit much. These guys are Tripwire or idiots. It's not Jerry Robinson's fault. It's none of these artists' fault. It's their fault.
They just put him on the list, I think, more for his period that he was involved in comics and breadth versus the art quality. I mean, it's okay, but it's not groundbreaking or it's kind of primitive looking to me. It looks old.
Nice description.
This next guy belongs high. I don't know about this high, but I love him. So Mac Rayboy at 39 is a genius, but he doesn't have a gigantic body of work to build on.
I'm just gonna say that Steve Thor in the chat, and sometimes I think he mentioned Rayboy.
Mac Rayboy is incredible.
Sunday Night Geekery. I think he was talking about Rayboy at least once on Sunday Night Geekery. Steve Thor and I agree completely 100% on every level about this artist, and that's all I'm going to say.
Well, I don't know what you guys were saying, so I'm going to need more. But I think
all right. This is another person whom it is very rare to have such. These are two words that Steve and I focus on when it comes to inking, and this is what people don't understand about inking in comic books. Inking is if you're looking at comic books like it is an album or a record, it's the audio quality of the recording. You can have all the notes by the vocalist and all the notes by the musician, but if it's recorded on a 2006 Nokia flip phone, it's going to sound like crap. And bad inks are the 2006 Nokia flip phone. So if you have great pencils inked by somebody with finesse and nuance, these are the two key words, finesse and nuance, then you have great comic book art. And Rayboy had finesse and nuance, but he could add the power and the passion into the layouts and into the pencils. And when you combine all these elements, you are getting a Wagyu beef steak.
Great artist. There's another way of saying he was a great artist. So I'm all there with you. Still wouldn't have him above some. I still wouldn't have him.
He's a great artist.
I still wouldn't have him above some of the guys we've mentioned, but I'm glad he's high.
I agree, but I'm just backing up Steve,
Totally with you.
and I'm just saying he is fantastic. But you are 100% correct. I wouldn't have him this high on the list. But when you look at the people drawing today compared to this, what are you going to say?
No, amazing. All right, everybody, barf bags at the ready.
No.
Number 38. Robert Crumb, scumbag, piece of filthy, garbagey trash person with his trashy underground garbagey comics. This is another pretentious choice.
Hipster.
Their hipster ass choice. They don't know shit about him. They probably watched that horrible documentary about him and everyone thinks it's so good and then thought, he's cool. This is a disgrace that he's on this list. He's not a comics artist. He's just a piece of... The guy was not good. And I mean, not good as a person.
Cartoonist.
Or
cartoonist, not comic book artist. And basically, it's just he's taking his sociological and I hate to say this, but highly sexualized point of view and square peg into round hole, making it into comic books. It's a square peg into a round hole.
Yep.
And I really despise the fact that he is on this list at all.
Disgusting individual. I've heard rumors and stuff like he cleaned his life up because he was really a dirtbag. I've heard people say that he's changed and all that kind of stuff. Well, I'm glad people can change. If that's true, that's great. But he doesn't belong on this list. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, he cannot be overlooked according to Tripwire. Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Yeah. Now we're back to holy crap, too damn low. Number 37, Bill Everett. Bill flipping Everett, 37. A top 10, a top 20, maybe top 10er, and they got him at 37. I mean, it's better than way down the list ridiculously. But good God. The great Bill Everett. This guy's one of the greatest comic artists of all time. I think he belongs in the top 10. Personally.
I mean, Clobby, you look at Bill Everett being right above Robert Crumb in the placement, and that tells you everything you need to know about trip wankage. This is trip
wankage. Trip wankage indeed. It is trip wankage. Darius Munchausen popped in. Hey, good to see you, my friend. Darius. Thank you for the 149 super sticker. Thank you, my friend. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and I appreciate you. And I knew this would get this reaction from Steve.
Yes.
And it's Steve.
Yes.
Indeed.
Popcorn.
The great Bill Everett.
And Bill Everett, to back up Steve, Bill Everett was inking all the way into the 70s and doing a great job as an inker in the 70s.
He was just extraordinary.
He is one of the most beautifully inspirational stories of comic book artists, but he's also one of the most tragic in many ways. And I think there should be an entirely separate list for people like Bill Everett, an entirely separate list.
Another terrible mistake. We didn't do that cover there. But
I did that cover.
John Buscema cover, but yeah.
It is a great cover, and it's one of my favorite comic book covers of all time.
But it's John Buscema, but yeah.
And of course, they drew Namor the wrong way according to the new movie, but we won't go there. But yeah.
The next one,
no more Lampwick. No more Lampwick.
The next one, again, a great artist, but it's like they just threw him in there to just put the Golden Age name out of the hat. I have every respect for Bernard Bailey.
Eric, you're so funny. God damn it, Eric.
Yeah.
Eric. Damn it.
Riots, I say. But no, I mean, every respect. I have no problem with him, but I don't know that he should be. Yeah, they know we're after him. They're onto us, man.
Quick, erase all the links to the photos.
All of these, I hate to, 7 hours ago, a lot of these missing photos were up. When I was doing my research, a lot of these photos were up, and now suddenly they're gone.
Well, you don't have to pull it up. We'll move to the next one.
Try that.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. We'll move to the next one. Next is
Yes, Thor. Yes. Thank you.
LB Cole is next. Again, another example of there's Bernard Bailey. Is it working out?
I'm going to. I had to go back to the top to put in the. Yep, there we go.
Okay, another old school guy who's I have every respect for. I'm not even gonna, so I just think some of these guys necessarily may not should be on the list, but I'm going to let's just move on from them, right? I'm not going to give them their due that they deserve respect for working and toiling in the comic industry.
Yeah.
But these people don't know. Tripwire, they don't know what they're talking about.
Look,
better him than a Robert Crumb, but still.
LB Cole at least did a cover to one of the Overstreet price guides, and I respect him for that when he was at the end of his life, so.
Now, yep, here's another one. Here's one. He's about right. Bern Hogarth's one of the greatest of all time, but he did not really do comic books. He only did comic strips and anatomy books.
He influenced a lot of people, though. He influenced a lot of people regarding the anatomy.
He's fine where he is because even though he didn't draw comic books that much, he drew comic strips. Of course, I love his Tarzan stuff. And he, like you said, people studied his books on human anatomy as all his art books and stuff. And I got to see him at a con. I got to see him at a con on a panel with Will Eisner and Jack Kirby and Frank Miller.
You see a lot of Bern Hogarth in Jim Steranko's work right after he was doing his own work instead of finishing the breakdowns for Kirby, because you remember he was finishing the breakdowns for Kirby and then he moved on to doing his own work on Nick Fury, etc. But particularly when you look at stuff like the Hound of the Baskerville story, I think that was Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. #3, which I owned and I had to track down as a kid, which was very hard. You see a lot of Bern Hogarth. And so the influence I dig, but his work is also very stylistic in terms of anatomy versus other people's understanding of anatomy.
Yep. Well, yeah, indeed. So at least he's on there. And again, I can't really dispute it. No. The next guy is number 33, Hal Foster. I can't dispute that either. I mean, but he wasn't a comic book artist at all. He was a comic strip, and not even a comic strip. It was like comic panel stuff. It's hardly even was. I mean, is it cartooning in the strictest sense? You tell me. But it's not sequential art, but it's beautiful, and I'm glad he's on there.
I said it before. I'll say it again. I think they're separate disciplines. There is the stage actor for theater, there is the film actor, and then there is the voiceover actor for animation. They are separate disciplines, and I believe in separating the disciplines. So I admire him for his particular genre of work, his particular medium. I do not think it is comic book art proper. I do not think it falls into the same category as Neil Adams or Starlin.
No, fair enough. Chris Bergia. Thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Appreciate you. Have a great night, my friend.
Good night, Chris.
Have a Tui's and a meat pie on me.
Let's see here. Milt Kniff, another strip artist. There's 3 strip artists in a row at number 32. And we'll just move on from this. I'll leave it. I mean, in every respect, he was a great. He did comics too, but he did comic books also. Every respect for him. Being high where he is, I'm fine. I don't have to be an argument with it. I mean, he's Milt Kniff, for God's sake. That's a name to be reckoned with. It's not. At least it's not like some nobody from the. I hate to call those guys nobodies. That no one's ever heard of. And this is a guy that had a lot more impact.
There's only one problem with Mr. Kniff, Clobberin. Only one problem, and that is Heidi McDonald thought he was better than Jack Kirby. Oh!
Oh my God. But we're talking about just not to dwell on strip artists too much.
Yeah,
you've got a, for example, a Milt Kniff on there and a Hal Foster, but you don't put a Chester Gould or somebody like that. I mean, maybe you should just stay with comic books. No Chester Gould, but you have. I mean, anyway. Okay, next guy, great Golden Age artist. Hey, Eric K. For $2, for $5 super chat says Jennifer Lawrence better be number 1. She invented, taught, and inspired everyone else. Thank you so much. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. And yes, I'm sure she is number 1.
Thank God for Jennifer Lawrence.
You're savage.
That's all I'll say.
You're a barbarian, Eric. You're a barbarian.
Craig Fessel, great artist. Dutzer should be up there.
I
So
love
next, number 30. Okay, I'm going to actually... I'm a big fan of this next guy, and I think he's too high. Dave Gibbons at number 30. Now, my buddy Steve hates him.
What?
I love Dave Gibbons. He does not like Dave Gibbons. He hates him.
His art, not the person.
His person. I'm a big fan of his work, but I think 30's high considering all the people he's ahead of. Lisa, the lovely Lisa. Good to see you there.
Yes,
yes.
It's me. It's me, Lisa.
It's him.
Yes, it is.
Yes, indeed. The great Hungry Boy's with us. I mean, what do you think of this? I mean, look, I'm not saying he should be in the 101, but he's higher than a lot of people that I think should be higher than him, and that's pretty high up. 30 is high. I'm
going to sound like a broken record. Can I agree with you again, please?
You can agree or disagree. Anything you have carte blanche, buddy.
Okay. Well, I mean, we disagreed about Dennis Cowan, so I'm going to agree here, and that balances out the check account. Okay. The thing about Gibbons is that he is a simplist. He's a minimalist, and he is a great storyteller. But his work, and this is why writers love him, including some writers I've worked with, who also worked with Mr. Gibbons, is he's really most often doing something that is more akin to storyboards for a movie, which is focusing entirely on the writer's element of it versus embracing what the artist brings to a comic book page, like P. Craig Russell or Gil Kane or even John Byrne. And his work is often in the very simplistic panel layout, and it's often just only telling what the writer wants to tell and nothing else. And there are no extraneous lines. That's an important word, extraneous lines. There is very minimalist inking. The inking is almost as minimalist. The line work is almost as minimalist as Steve Ditko. And therefore, a lot of writers love him because he's basically just blowing smoke up the skirt of the writer. But that doesn't mean he's a bad artist. But I take issue. I take issue with him being this high. I take issue with him on this context being this high on the list.
Okay. Now, I guess I overstated. I thought you didn't like him. You said I overstated a little bit, but Steve was not a fan. I'm sorry, Steve. I didn't mean to. If I was exaggerating, I just thought you said you really couldn't stand his work. But okay, that's cool. Look, I would have him in this list somewhere. I think 30 might be a little bit much. It's all I'm saying.
I will be honest. Clubby, you're going to kill me for this because we have to add some. We're going to have to add some spice to the goulash. Okay. And we're about to add some like heavy paprika to the goulash here, and Mark knows what I mean. I would have preferred a different artist for Watchmen. Kill me.
I did.
Kill me now.
Until he did. No, until he got it. I was mad that it wasn't going to be Boland right before it came out, a year before it came out, because I did not like Gibbons that much. But now I wouldn't have it any other way, though. Now after the fact, I wouldn't. I think he was perfect for it. That doesn't mean
agree. We agree. For example, imagine that.
If you were to tell me I could have Kirby doing Watchmen, I wouldn't want him to do it. Or Starlin or Adams. I would want it to be Gibbons.
No, but here's the thing. There's a nasty, wicked part of me. Thanks a lot to you, Mark. A nasty, wicked part of me that thought, what if 1969 Steranko could have drawn Watchmen?
Oh boy, that would be weird. I'd take it.
That'd be a trip.
I'd take it. All right, let's move. Let's get some speed in them legs. Next up, number 29, Mobius, Jean Giraud. I met him. Nice. It was a nice man. I'm not the. By the way, I should point out our good buddy, the man who this show is named after, our dear departed friend Mark C. Loved Mobius. It was one of his favorite artists. Mr. Giraud was one of his favorite. He loved Lieutenant Blueberry. It was one of his favorite comics.
M in the chat. I just put M in the chat. Let's put M in the chat, people.
M in the chat. Yes. M. So, yes. I like Mobius a lot. I have no problem with him being high up on the list. He was very influential. A lot of people really loved him. If anyone has any thoughts, if not, we'll just move to the next one. Or
I'll just say Metal Hurrant is a heavy metal magazine in French, so which you co-created. Yes. I have got that up there. So that's heavy metal. So for none of his artwork is showing up here, but and his Galactus. Hey, this Galactus
Bill,
with
yeah.
Stan Lee was one of my Surfer.
Excellent
Sorry,
point. Excellent point, Mark. And also his Silver Surfer, his depiction of the Silver Surfer is 800 times better than All Red. And
but not better than Kirby's though.
No, nobody Silver Surfer is better than Kirby's. But also a main reason for Mobius to be on this list was he was incredibly influential in terms of the design and the stylistic choices of a film that is a cult favorite known as The Fifth Element. So that's why they chose him for that.
Yep. Well, I have no problem with him being high up on that list. So
yeah.
Next. Oh boy. Captain Fender, you still with us there, brother? Here we go.
Lisa, no.
Number 28. What that one?
No, she misunderstood.
Oh, Lisa. Actually, no, Lisa. My show is named after a dear friend of ours that used to do the show with me that I've known for a long time that passed away sadly a couple of years ago. We called him Mark C. So every now and then we put an M in the chat for Mark C. Just as a. But if she couldn't have known that.
No.
No problem, Lisa.
But no, that's no problem at all, Lisa. I just want, she could have known that. I should tell people. I should lay that out sometimes for the new people. Anyway, Howard Chaykin at number 28.
Oh, screw off.
Screw him.
Screw
Howard
off.
Chaykin.
Sorry, Captain Finity. Screw off. I mean, Captain and I have had long private conversations.
Your old toys.
Captain. No.
Yes.
No.
You're raising the flag on that one?
Yes, I'm ready. No,
have you
penalty
argued about
box.
Chaykin?
Soccer, penalty box. Soccer, penalty box.
Have you argued about Chaykin before?
Yes, we have. And Captain and I have argued, but I agree that he's good at some things, but he's crap at others. Okay, so can I speak my piece about Chaykin and be done with it forever on this channel? Forever. Never talk about it again. Never.
Ew, go for it.
Okay. Now, he is really good as a writer and constructing a story and laying it out. His layouts are really good. His execution, his shading, his pencils, his paintings are garbaggio pizza. It's worse than clam on pizza.
That's why he hired guys, including a friend of mine who used to work for him, to do all of his backgrounds for him.
Yes, and he would do things that were my blood pressure.
Look how flat that looks. Doesn't that look really flat?
Lord. He would use Letraset. He would use Zipatone in the worst possible way, versus Tom Palmer. Okay, and in his early years, Klaus Janssen as an inker using Zipatone and Letraset in the best possible way, and he would ruin the potentially good work that he did. And I'm done.
Well, hey, you know what? I might not mind so much if he were somewhere on the list way towards the back, but you're gonna even that idiot jerk off himself, Howard Chaykin, which he is one. Even he would probably scoff at being him being before Gil Kane, probably, because he had respect for some of them. I don't know, but he is a total jerk off. But anyway, so there you go. That's for you, Captain Fenton. You got 28. Enjoy it. Number 27.
I'm sorry, Captain. I had to get that off my chest.
It's worth it. Another old timer. Basil Wolverton. This guy was good. Again, another guy they just pulled out a Golden Age name out of their hats. I mean, it was guy was good.
Yeah.
Look, he did By Beast there.
Yeah, he did By Beast. Looked like By Beast. Different kind of By Beast.
That's good. Oh, Mark, that was precious. Thank you. That's fantastic.
Way too high if he should be on it at all. But high. I mean, no offense. But next is all right, I'm gonna get in trouble for the next one.
Uh-oh.
Next is number 26 is a guy that I don't really like that much. Everyone loves him because of Hellboy. Mike Mignola, I think he's okay. I just don't really care for his style pretty much. Nothing, but people love Hellboy, and I get it. Hellboy's fine.
That's a love-hate thing. Yeah, I really don't like his style either, but once you read the Hellboy comics, it ends up working. But
my favorite,
it's not my
artist is still Dillard.
He's a better writer. He's like Matt Wagner. He's a guy who should have other people
he is like illustrate
his work.
Dillard. My favorite artist is still Dillard. Who's Dillard?
Dillard is the very good young, by my definitions, young, which is your definition of young, meaning, you know what, he still doesn't have a swollen prostrate, artist, who is doing the graphic novel for the cat.
Oh, okay. That's right. Well, he is an excellent artist. There you go. All right. So, yeah, I'm not a big Mignola fan. I don't know. He does this is ridiculous.
It's
better
like
than Perez. That's insanity.
No. I have to make a joke here because I do like early Mignola, and he is a delightful person to meet in person. But when the image you're showing right now, it's like, remember in Star Trek, the motion picture, when there was the horrible transporter beam technology accident?
Yep.
And this is the transporter beam technology accident between Alex Toth and Jack Kirby.
Wow.
It's a worse.
Wow.
And the transporter accident is a lot worse if you read it in the original novel. Oh,
yeah.
More.
Well, so now the next one is dedicated to, again, our good friend that this show has been named after for almost nearly close to 2 years now. Our great friend our great late friend Mark C. Once again mentioned because his all-time favorite artist was John Byrne. They've got him at 25, and I might say he would be not happy with this.
Where would he put Byrne?
I wouldn't blame him. I would think Byrne would be a little bit higher than this. I don't know. You know, look, I have a lot of issues with Byrne, but I like a lot of his art. So, I mean, you know, I don't know. It's high. That's pretty high,
top
though.
20. Yeah. Top 20, probably.
Maybe top 20. I don't know.
Very influential.
On a generous day. Matthew Pounder, what's up?
Hello, Matthew. Wonderful to see you here.
Listen, either one of you have anything to say about it, we'll leave it at that because Byrne's at 25. And there you go.
His FF, his X-Men.
He's done some great stuff, but he's also done some. We got to a point where, I mean, let's face it. Well, for me, I can't face anything. This is an opinion. To me, all of his best stuff has been inked by other people, not himself, but you know, just me.
Yes.
But anyway, he's done some wonderful work. I like him a lot, and again, he was my boy Mark's favorite. So,
appreciation. I look at Byrne again. I reiterate, knowing how to make the sausage versus eating the sausage. You know what I mean? And I see what he did and the way he did it. And so my appreciation of him is probably higher than some other people's appreciation. But when it comes to the inking, I am 100% on board. There are actually 5 inkers who really made Byrne shine. 5 inkers, and none of them were Byrne.
None of them were. JD Lewis, good night, my friend. I'm with you
JD.
there. I'd say two I can name off the top of my head were well, of course, a lot of people don't agree with him because you get in trouble with Steve with this. I love Joe Sennett, of course, but there's Terry Austin, Joe Rubenstein would be my 2 favorites. I mean, I'm sure there's some others.
I think Kiesel did a really
Tom
good.
Palmer. You like Palmer on him?
I think Kiesel did a really good job on Byrne.
Okay,
Carl Kiesel.
Okay. But yeah, well, there you go, Andy. Yep, Austin and Rubenstein would be my favorites. Okay, so let's get some speed going here. Number 24 is Alex Ross, a comics painter.
I know.
I love his stuff. I'm not necessarily. I mean, yes, they are published in the comic book format. They are pictures. You know, they are
the new FF book finally.
Yeah, that was one that might be the first thing he's fully penciled in in his career until except for his early days before he started painting Marvels, and that was very good. So I love Ross's work. I'm not going to comment on whether it's too high or not. It's fine because he does some of the most extraordinary images ever seen in comics. Much like some of your guys who are better known for covers, he still makes a great impact. So I'm fine.
He also, to be fair to him, just before we move on, this is all I'm going to say, is unlike a lot of people who paint comic book covers or paint interiors, they don't get the mood right. They're not in command of the paint. They're not in command of the tone. And Alex Ross has always been in command of the tone, the lighting, and the mood. And so he really is, again, to go back to something I said about an earlier artist, he is really doing kind of movie poster art translated into comic book art, and I appreciate that. And also, I met the guy when he was breaking in, just like
So did I.
you know, it was back in the late 80s, and he was just sitting there doing interior painted art for some very small known, not to be remembered independent company. And I thought, wow, this guy's a bloody genius.
He did a book called Warlock 5 or something. No, that was a different guy. He did
no,
he did
I don't think he did Warlock.
He didn't do that one. No, he did something else.
Cell.
He did an Air Cell book. That's garbage right there. I hated that Uncle Sam thing he did.
Oh,
now, Warlock 5 was somebody else. It wasn't that. It was the back of a Terminator comic, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and then he really he understood the technique he needed to use. He started working purely with gouache on the proper illustration paper, and it was just leaps and bounds. But I don't need to say anything else. We need to move on.
Number 23 is one of my all-time favorites, who I would argue could be a little bit higher, but at least he's up there. Barry Windsor Smith. After he became Barry Smith, after he was Barry Smith.
Yep.
Don't like him.
Oh, Thor. Oh, Thor.
What?
Thor, Maddie's daddy said in art school, Ross would be a C student.
Oh, well.
Ouch.
Oh, and I thought I was a bitch.
Well, crud. I wish I could get a C in art school.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Once again, they're on to us. They're not letting us see any of the pictures, folks. So, there you go. Why would they show? And they pick dumb examples like that.
That was a horrible cover, too. God.
Why would they pick stupid examples like that? Show Conan stuff and his Valiant stuff. Oh, my God.
Well, Conan is so problematic, whereas that cover is not.
That's a terrible cover, too. We did a lot way better stuff than that.
I've got that issue. I've got that.
I am a massive BWS fan, and I have been since the early 80s. And I will admit, even when he was struggling to find his feet, when he was doing the first...
When he was ripping Kirby?
Well, no, actually, no, not the Kirby stuff. When he was first starting out and bringing in the pre-Raphaelite art element, when he was doing his first stuff for Conan the Barbarian, and he was being inked by Sal Buscema. I thought those were great comic books. I thought they were delightful comic books.
I love his Conan stuff. And he just refined his style so much on his Conan. Yes. But he started out and came over from across the pond, and he was drawn exactly like Kirby. He was ripping Kirby big time.
Oh, Blastar, dude. Remember his Blastar comic for the X-Men?
Yep. I mean, it was not just that, but there are a few other ones where, I mean, it was just like, wow. I mean, he was just aping Kirby big time. He admitted it. I mean, you know.
There were sometimes he did a knee. He did a knee that was bigger than the character's head. There's a panel.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the first stuff was awful but delightful.
Captain Infinity? I actually have that Swords of Cerebus with the Barry Windsor Smith cover. And I got Dave Sim to sign it back in the 80s. And he said, "Where'd you get this?" It was Swords of Cerebus #2. I'll never forget it. He said, "This is only like 2000. This one printed. This is not it. This is the original cover. Where'd you get that?" I got it. I ordered it way back when it first came out. Weird. Barry Windsor Smith cover. Anyway,
I do love his art.
I love this.
Shut up until we hit the next one.
Okay, doke. Well,
this is Wolverine, of course, which was probably his most popular.
I love his Valiant stuff.
And then there's a Conan, but
I wish he had finished.
That Wolverine, just the Weapon X story, just was was super popular.
Yeah,
as we're waiting for this to load.
I wish he'd finished his Barry Windsor Smith Storyteller. I bought all the issues he did, and they didn't come out anymore. Al Williamson is one of my favorites at number 22. Really love his work. Might be a little high for him considering some of the people that he's bypassed, but I like him a lot. So, anybody?
Nope.
Okay, not a fan.
Yep. I just don't know him.
Williamson guy. Oh, really? Well, you've probably seen him.
I'm actually a big Williamson guy, but everything I would say about Williamson applies to about 10 other artists we've already talked about. I don't want to repeat myself.
It's more of a
Gotcha,
positioning,
gotcha.
you're saying,
Gotcha. I
than a
love him.
critique.
Yeah. Well, I love his Flash Gordon stuff. His adaptation of the Sam J. Jones Flash Gordon film, which I have the album of, is fantastic. And of course, he also did Star Wars for a long time in the comics and in the strips.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Rob Altus. Thank you so much for the super chat. For $5, he says, Clobby, did you receive prisoner figures? I got mine on Saturday. Not yet, sir, but that gives me hope. I don't know if you're where you are in the States, but oh my goodness, I'm gonna go check my mailbox again tomorrow. Unless they came in today, but I don't think so. But that gives me some hope. So, man, oh man, I'm gonna be watching that mailbox for him. So great to see you, Rob. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I mean, you said you got yours on Saturday. You had a fantastic Christmas. Wow, what a Christmas!
There you
present.
go.
Yeah. So number 21 is Graham Ingles again.
That's insider baseball again.
Yeah, it's more. They just wanted to throw a Golden Ager in there to pretend like they know anything about comics. You know what's funny about some of these covers they pick for these Golden Age comics? They weren't credited, and they're tough. It's real tough to find out who drew some of those covers. Chances are a lot of these covers aren't even drawn by him.
I know
that they were picking. So he doesn't belong at 21. No disrespect, but we're going to leave him alone. Yeah, CC Beck was 95, Steve, I think.
Night, pop culture. Good night.
Yeah, pop culture.
Pop culture. Good night, sir.
While that other page is loaded, I'm just scrolling through some of the art.
Yes, CC Beck was 95, Steve.
95.
But thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that hope there. He said all orders shipped. Said Rob. Thank you so much. I can't wait, man.
Awesome.
Oh man, fingers crossed. Hope it gets here, because you never know when something gets here.
Those are the new prisoner special figures that were. It's still the ones. Tripwire still spending. I'm watching it, but yeah. Special
the prisoner figures. Now, not the one. I also ordered one from Big Bad Toys. I guess they'll get those a little bit later. So anyway,
here we go.
All right, number 20, Bernie Creakston, Bernard Creakston, right? Okay, EC artist, fine, great artist. This high up, I don't know. Let's just leave him alone. How about that? I'll just say that their people should be higher. How about does that work for you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, 19. Jack Cole is one of the greats.
Yes.
He was brilliant. Died too young. I can understand him being high, still not as high as your Canes or your Toths or your or a lot of the people that are he's ahead of. But Jack Cole was a master.
Yes.
We're in master territory. Now, this is going to be interesting. This is the biggest. This might be the most controversial one of the night between you and me, Hungry Boy.
We'll
Number 18 is Bill Sienkiewicz. I like the guy. I like him. Okay, I think he's a tool as a person, but the way he portrays himself on.
Have you met him personally?
No, it's the way he conducts himself in social media lately.
It's not different.
Oh well, I figures. Oh wow. I kind of liked him better when he was aping Adams, to be honest. But I know he became stylistic, and people started liking his stuff. And people like, was it Stray Toasters and New Mutants and whatever?
No, not Stray Toasters.
I knew you'd love that.
No, Clobby, don't you go Mark. Don't you go Mark on me. I already have enough dealing with Mark. I'm putting my finger to my jugular vein right now going, don't do it, Clobby, don't do it. But the thing is, I will say this, and I've said this in the chat, in the stream. I mean, okay, ignore Stray Toasters. Look at the brilliance, to be fair to the man, out of respect to I swore, sorry, that Wolverine is the worst ever. That Wolverine is just terrible. Make that go away, please, Mark. Make that. Thank you. But his Jimi Hendrix graphic novel is one of the best graphic novels in terms of comic book culture that's ever been published.
Okay.
And it was mostly done by hand, very little digital. And you look at his New Mutants work, I understand that. But again, I came into Sienkiewicz. I mean, I first went, who's this jerk? When he came on to Fantastic Four. And then he came, Moon Knight. I'm like, oh, I can't get any Adams. Adams is not bothering to draw comic books anymore. Oh, this guy's kind of like Adams.
He's ripping Adams, and he told him to rip. Adams said he could rip him.
Well, actually, Bill Sienkiewicz got his job because Adams.
Andy hated it. Andy hated him on Moon Knight. Wow, good.
But the thing is that Neil Adams called up Marvel and said, "Oh, I can't do it, but I got a guy who can pretty much do me.
Yeah,
you willing to give him a shot?" And they gave him a shot, and that was really wonderful work. And I do love his work when it's smooth and he's using the airbrush and he's balancing the colored pencil against the gouache, and he's doing the mixed media when he's all trying to make it tight and controlled. And I like tight and controlled artwork. But when it's the scribbly scrabbly German expressionist stuff
like this,
I just want to throw throw it into the fireplace.
I couldn't stand Electra Assassin. I'm like Electra Assassin looked like garbage to me.
Oh, really? You don't like Electra Assassin?
No, I didn't. I thought the art didn't fit the story.
Captain Finity is going to have his mind blown with that one. He loves that one. Captain Finity loves
I never liked
Electra Assassin.
I mean, I bought it when it came out and read it because it was Frank Miller writing it, but I didn't like it that much.
I bought every single individual issue when it was coming out, and then I bought the trade paperback. Not graphic novel, folks. Remember, always remember, thanks to Clobberin,
trade paperback.
There is a graphic novel which is created to be a graphic novel, and then there is a trade paperback
which is a compilation
collected. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Number 7. Go ahead.
No, you. We're done. We're done with Sienkiewicz. We're done.
Number 17. I'm all for this one, even though I don't know how he's higher than some of the other guys, but Ross Heath. Ross Heath was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I hate to be in this position. He's not better than Kane or Toth, but he's great. I mean, I love Russ Heath. Yes.
I adore Russ Heath, and I like his stuff going back to the earliest of his career. I would place him a little lower compared to other people in the list.
But he's still great that he's up there somewhere, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a great artist, but he's not. I mean, I don't know. I can't get over what they've done to Gil Kane and John Romita. Anyway, we'll get to
that's the problem, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not the rest.
We don't want to sound like a broken record, but yeah.
Everybody from this point belongs where they are for the most part. We'll go quick on those so we can do omissions.
Yeah, but does Russ Heath deserve to be higher than Alex Toth?
No.
Or Romita.
Or Gil Kane?
I don't know. I don't think he should be above Aparo, to be perfectly honest, but that's just me. Anyway. But I'm just saying let's see. The next one, 16, Walt Simonson. Love him.
Yes.
I don't love him more than Gil Kane now. But I love him. Walt Simonson over George Perez and Gil Kane.
Wrong choice.
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, and I love him, man. I love it. That's why I hate being in that position. It's not like I'm knocking Walt Simonson. But really?
The one thing I can just to be fair, unlike Trip Wankage, can I play devil's advocate for one moment?
Do what you got to do, man. Hey.
Walt Simonson, unlike Gil Kane and unlike Perez, is a masterful writer. He understands pacing. He understands setups and payoffs, particularly in his Thor run. And so he deserves, I think, more to be in a top 50 comic book writers list than he deserves to be this high on the list of comic book artists.
Fair cop. It's a fair cop. Yeah. So, yes, sir.
I love his work. Yeah.
I adore him, but it's very
great writer too.
He's very expressionistic, and his writing is better. He knows the exact time to have a silent panel when a character is just looking at you, the reader. And then 2 panels later, they say one word. He really gets that. He gets the cinematic placing of everything. But that doesn't mean he should be on this placement at this level for the greatest comic book artists in history.
Oh, I agree with that. That level.
Yeah. It's not that he's too high. It's just some people are just too low. All right.
Yep.
Next is the great Harvey Kurtzman. We don't even have to go too far into this. He belongs high on any list. for all of his accomplishments in his art.
Yeah.
And so not even going to argue. Unless you have something to say, Hungry Boy, we can move on to the next one.
Nothing. Move on.
He's one of the greats. He's a pantheoner. Next is another same deal for this one for me, Alex Raymond. One of the all-time, he was a strip artist, and similar like Hal Foster.
Yes.
God, he was brilliant. He was unreal. Gave us Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
I love him. I love Flash Gordon, so I'm fine with him being where he is.
Ditto.
Okay. All right. Next is Gentleman Jim Steranko. All right. This was kind of touched upon. It's kind of weird. Jim Steranko's fantastic, folks.
Yes.
Jim Steranko is beyond belief fantastic.
Yes.
Did he do a lot compared to some people? No. He was not in the industry very long. But if you're going to have him high up on this list, fine. It's just some other people are too low. But it's not going to affect what I think of Jim Steranko, so I love him. So let's just
This is going to be one. I've barely disagreed with you thus far, right?
Go for it. Oh, I'm not saying he shouldn't be up there. I didn't say that.
Okay, when you look particularly at what you're looking at now on the screen, and that's his comic book adaptation of Outland. This is sheer brilliance. This is sheer genius.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
And
I love it.
Hits,
cool.
It ticks. Remember when I talked about the 7 boxes to tick? It's ticking every single box, and it's creating new boxes. And I agree that he has not done that much, but Steve, when we were talking about this, I think it was about a month ago, and Steve Thor was talking about influence on comic books. He mentioned Neil Adams, and his influence in the way it changed the medium of comic books. And I do think that this is a good placement for Steranko because he did change the way we thought about creating comic book panels and narrative.
Oh no, you misunderstand. I'm not. I'm throwing their own logic back in the face of Tripwire.
Okay.
I'm fine with it being up there. Yeah.
I apologize, Clobby.
Oh, so he's not top. Oh yeah, he's top 20. I mean, he could be higher.
So, and if you haven't seen the movie Outland with Sean Connery, go watch that. And this is actually
I did in 1980.
Some ways better than the movie. Or anyone in the chat.
I want this comic. I wanted it so bad. No, but you're right. Absolutely, buddy. I'm glad you said it that way. I'm just saying.
Okay, so we're in agreement. We're in total agreement there?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
I'm throwing this back at Tripwire. They're the ones bitching and moaning about being prolific, and they're so inconsistent and stupid. All right.
They're like a 16-year-old girl who wants to go to an 18-year-old prom, and they can't figure out what to wear.
Right. The next, I don't have a bone to pick with him, so we're going to go quick here so we can get to the emotions. Next is Wally Wood. Belongs there. Masterpiece. Again, I always shout out our dear departed Mark C. This show's dedicated to him all the time anyway, especially tonight. He loved Wallace Wood. One of the masters. Nudity. Woo. It happens. So he belongs there, no dispute. It can be higher. And I'm not even gonna quibble with placement now that we're where we are. Placement all that much anymore because yes, some can be interchanged and higher in there, and but he's where he should be.
A little higher.
He could be higher.
I would place him just one higher. One.
Because speaking of could be higher, at 11 we got Joe Kubert. I mean, the teacher, for God's sake. I mean, the instructor, and they got him out of the top 10.
I know.
Which is unreal.
Take everyone to school.
That's the nickname I gave to Raquel, the doyen. Now, if you look up the word doyen in your favorite or available online dictionary, it's someone who's so good at their craft that they teach others. Okay?
Yes, there you go.
So for a female, it's doyen. For a male, it's doyen. And he is the doyen of comic book art.
In other words, that joke, those who can't teach, doesn't apply here. He was one of the greats.
Those who can't do underground comic books, and those who can do proper comic books.
Yes. So ridiculous that he's out of the top 10. All right. But the top 10 is great, but still. 10. Okay, here's the problem. Alex Schomburg.
What?
Look.
What?
Over Steranko and Kubert and Wood.
What?
No. he's a fine artist. This is a guy does not belong in the top 30. I'm so sorry. I love the guy. That's another one of the. They're just pretentious jackasses at Tripwire. Okay, now we're all right. Number 9, Lou Fine. I would have him in the top 20 somewhere, so I'm okay. But I think he's I don't think he should be over Cupid.
See, again, like when I'm I have to separate when I'm a reader to when I actually am drawing stuff. So I separate those categories, right? So when I'm looking as someone who knows how the sausage is made, I would place him a little bit lower here. But when I look as a reader and someone who enjoys reading and absorbing a comic book and being immersed in a comic book, I agree with you 100%. That's all I'm going to say.
Gotcha. I mean, it was great. I think a little bit high. Number 8, probably could be higher, arguably, but he's fine. That is, of course, Will Eisner.
Higher.
The great Will Eisner a lot of these you could argue for being higher.
Higher.
I mean, yeah, it could probably higher. I mean, he's another instructor, a master who people learn from.
Higher.
I mean, did he pretty much come up with the term sequential art? If he didn't, he wrote a book about it. So,
well, I had that book, as you can imagine, and I gave that book on to my apprentice. And yes, the thing is, a lot of people, they only look at the most popular stuff, the most easily found stuff from Will Eisner. But if you really want to see what Eisner can do, you look at one of the earliest graphic novels, and he did it. And it's in black and white, called The Building, and it's amazing. It's not
I have
superhero.
That. Oh,
okay, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. And
if you want to learn
and
how
a contract
to
with God too. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. That one as well. But with The Building, and I think you would agree with me, and then I'll shut up and we'll move on. Is if you want to learn how to tell what would be cinematically 5 minutes on screen silently without any words being spoken, you look at The Building by Will Eisner.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, this next one. All right. Jesus Christ. Number 7, Frank freaking Miller. Look, Frank Miller. I like Frank Miller. I love a lot of his stories. As an artist, visually, his best art doesn't belong in the top 50.
I know.
And he's done some nice stuff. I like it, especially when he's inked by Rubenstein or by especially him, or even Jansen. I love Frank Miller. Fine,
or
Austin, but he's no way in hell he belongs above Will Eisner, his old buddy, or anybody. And he does not belong in the top. He doesn't belong in the top 30. Top 50. Frank Miller. That's just preposterous.
This is more an influence and popularity.
Yes, it's so stupid. Yeah, but they don't even get that. Mark. They're not even consistent with that, though, Mark. They're half the time. Mostly guys they put on had no influence, but they're just guys that they pulled out of the obscure golden age that I love, but don't have influence.
Because Miller
has influence, but he doesn't belong at the time. Anyway, okay.
Well, I will say this. There was one story artistically that I really loved by Miller, and that was one of his first properly paid works, and it was either Creepy or Eerie magazine for Warren. And it was inked by someone much better at inking than him. So I appreciate that as a 1% drop in the bucket, but he is a writer and a designer more than he is an artist. And therefore, again, context matters. He should not be on this list because this is comic book artists, 101 comic book artists of all time. And he is not one of the 101 greatest comic book artists of all time.
Number 6.
It's like Matt Wagner. It's like Matt Wagner.
Exactly. Number 6, Steve Ditko. 6?
Man.
Okay. I mean, considering who they have ahead of him, I don't know, but 6, that he could make a case he could be higher. Especially considering someone ahead of him, 2 people that are ahead of him, maybe 3 that shouldn't be ahead of him. So let's just move on from Ditko. I mean, who would argue that he should be high? He should be, right?
Yes.
And he could be higher, in my opinion.
Yep.
Number 5 is going to be weird for me. I love this guy's art, and I don't think he belongs in the top 10. What? I love John Buscema. Love him.
Oh, God.
I don't think he belongs above Ditko or Kubert. I don't.
Oh, Clobby, you
Or
weakened
Eisner.
me. Oh,
Above
Clobby,
Eisner?
no. Clobby, no.
John Buscema above Eisner?
Clobby.
I don't think he belongs above or
I'm not getting in the
Kane,
middle
for
of
that
this
matter.
one.
Above Kane, Eisner, any of those guys?
Clobby, no.
He's in my on my favorites list. I got him on my favorites list very high, man. On my favorites list, he's in the very, very close up there. I mean, I don't know if he might be in my top 10 or top 15. But on the greatest list, are you kidding me?
No.
Make your case that he's better than Ditko and Eisner and Kubert. I love John Buscema. That's why I said I hated being in this position.
I know. You know what? We're in a rush now, so I'm not going to go on for 20 bloody minutes explaining why I understand what you're saying and I agree with what you're saying. Although personally, I can condense it. I can condense it. Remember when we were saying, it was a couple of days ago, there is the artists who are your favorites versus who are your best, and those are two different categories.
Right. They are. Hey, Jill. Jill's here. I hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Jill!
And there's the Goldstein. Shalom.
Hello.
I'm sorry. Continue.
And shalom, Ezra Goldstein. Shalom. And Jill, it is so wonderful to see you here. Every time I see your name in any chat,
Love you, Jill.
in any stream, it brightens my day. And I'm not exaggerating or blowing smoke up your skirt. But with the Buscema thing, the Buscema, to pronounce it the way Stan Lee or Funky Flashman pronounced it, Buscema. You know what I mean. The thing is, again, it's insider baseball, and people who can draw look at him very differently towards the influence in comic books as viewed by people who don't draw. So it's going to a restaurant when you know how to cook yourself. And so you have a different opinion about the spices and the texture of the food. And with Buscema, I am happy with his placement personally in terms of my favorite artists, but in terms of best artists, I am on your side.
I hear you. Me too. I'm with you. We agree. Thing is, dude, when we were getting close to the top a couple weeks ago, to this list, and I hadn't got to him yet, I thought he was been snubbed. I was.
You thought he was left off the list.
I was so shocked that they had him. I thought he'd been snubbed.
Clobby,
but I love him, and so.
Where would you guys put him at? What number would you guys put him at?
I'd have him in the top 15, top 20.
Well, top 15, right?
Top 20. I mean, it's tough to put him
because a little bit higher though.
He did all 9. He did was script things.
9.
He was handed things to do. He didn't do a lot of creating himself, although he really did kind of most of the writing for Stan. I saw an interview with him recently where he talked about how much Kirby influenced him. Yeah. So, but anyway, look, he's at 5. I love him. That's fair enough. But I just don't think he should be ahead of some of the other people he's ahead of. But let's move on.
Well, to agree with you, Clobby, again, as you said, I mean, we have to, for us personally, us 3 on this panel right now. Okay, you, Mark, myself. We have 2 separate lists. We have the best versus our personal favorites.
That's all I'm saying.
So for me, personally, as an artist, someone who went to life drawing classes, someone who learned how to paint, learn light and shade, learn everything, I would personally put him at a 9. But in terms of what this list is supposed to be, but failing to be, I would put him at 15.
Fair enough. That's probably where I'm up there. I'll read my favorites list later. But okay. Number 4, I hate to do this again. I love Bernie Wrightson. Is he the number 4 of all time though?
I don't think so.
Body of work does matter here. It matters in some ways. Steranko was fantastic. I think that matters when you're in the top 4. Jesus Christ, does it matter if you're in the top 4?
Yeah,
he didn't really influence that man. I love Bernie. I don't know about number 4, man.
No, Clobby, he influenced a lot of us. He did, and he was influenced by Frazetta, and then that's like a second generation inking influence on a lot of us. Okay, so it's only a slight disagreement, but he was very influential. But again, like other people, if you're going to put that much detail in, every single line you put in with the brush takes physical time. So his work took more time than other people. So he could not, by definition, have the same amount of pages printed as Alex Toth, as even Perez. He was not fast, and he was putting in every line. I mean, honestly, I would say after having met and spoken with and hung out for 2 hours with Bernie on more than 2 occasions,
nice guy.
I think,
absolutely.
Also, I think artistically he had a little bit of obsessive compulsive disorder, and so the page was not done until it was done. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Every line.
This is heavy metal here. Yeah.
I love that Captain Stern con.
So
well, I love him.
If I went off too much, I apologize.
No, I got no. Of course not, dude. You was what you're here for. We're glad you. I love him. I think it's too high, personally, because but I hear you. For the same pragmatic reasons I said about John, and I love both of them. You know?
Exactly. It's the personal list versus the what do we really rate them as?
Absolutely, ishness. I love him, and our great friend Mark C. loved him as well. Yeah. All right, let's see. Number 3 is the great Neil Adams. I'm not going to complain without that one at all.
Nope.
No problem with that.
This is the one thing they got right. I do think Neil Adams should be at 3.
Indeed, this will expedite matters. But number 2 is the great Frank Frazetta. We talked about this the other night. Great artist, but not in the comic book field that much. He's way too high for the comic book. He should be somewhere, but not, maybe in the top 60s or something, but not number 2.
A separate list. Again, a separate list. When you look,
well, I understand. But
we can
put him on there.
Illustrators who also worked in comic books. That's a separate list. We could have that. Illustrators who did great painted covers. We could have that. But displacement, wrong.
Ridiculous. And again, I love him. And I hate to be in that position to say, but it just doesn't work. So number 1, no shot. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, on your show the other night, we looked up, and I think you'd only done 300 interiors and
I mean, just like 300
covers, just body of work. So,
and it's not what his claim to fame. If you keep scrolling, they show books, art that's not even from comics. So, again, so we'll make quick work of this and get on to the omissions. Number 1 is no brainer. The King, at least they got that right.
Yes.
But then again, broken
They had
clock.
no choice. They had no choice, Clobby.
Broken clock. Now, I'm going to read off some names, folks, of people, given who's on this list, of people who, and I'll go, and then I'll bounce it off of you guys, and then we'll talk about it, but I'll read them off real quick. Of people not on this list, given who we just... People not on this list are Kurt Swan, Joe Shuster. This is no particular order, by the way. I just wrote a bunch of names down. Dave Cockrum.
Yes, Thor.
Dick Sprang. Herb Trimpe.
Yes.
Gray Morrow.
Yes.
Mike Grell.
Yes.
Steve Rude.
Oh.
Dave Stevens. Dick Giordano.
You're killing me.
Bill Willingham.
I'm dying.
Art Adams. Let's see here. Dan Adkins. Let's see. John Cassidy. Let's see here. A couple other ones here. I got a bunch of them here, actually. Your boy Ron Garney's not on there. Mark.
Oh, Ron Garney's not on there?
Yeah, and of course not.
I got to give him a phone call.
Paul Gulacy. I don't care if he was ripping off Steranko. Steve Lytle.
Where was Allred in this list?
Nowhere. There you go. You're lucky. Let's see here. Steve Lytle, Kevin McGuire, Jerry Ordway, Chester Gould, Shelley Moldoff.
Oh.
Paul Smith, Chris Prowse, Lee Weeks, Tom Yates, P.
Ethan
Craig
Van
Russell. Yep, I was getting him. P. Craig Russell. Dude, P. Craig Russell's not on it.
Oh my God. P. Craig Russell is in my top 15 every day of the week since 1981.
Indeed. Ethan Van Sciver. I think he's an excellent artist. Let's see. But Bob Layton.
Yep.
Winsor McKay. Just a few names. Yeah, a few nobodies who aren't as good as Daniel Cloas. Chloe's Cloas.
Chloe, you had to do that. You had to do that.
But the big ones for me are, folks, the big standouts. Omissions. Yeah, no Giordano, of course.
Gentleman Dick. Gentleman Dick, who was as good a penciler inking himself as anybody he inked. He was fantastic.
Sal Buscema. Hey, better than some of the... I know Sal, but hear me out. He's better than some of the guys on this list. And there's the thing. These names I mentioned, you may say what you want about them, but a lot of these guys I named are better than 30 to 40% of this list.
Yeah, I know.
Wouldn't you say, roughly? If you had to ballpark it, what would you say?
No,
but Zek was on it. Yeah, but Zek was on it, for God's sake.
No,
Yep. Okay. So what's worse about this list? And you guys, but placement or omissions? I can't choose. It's a toss up almost.
No, I can choose omissions.
Omissions is worse.
Omissions.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, because you can't leave certain
placements
because
bad.
The omissions then would boot certain people off that top 101. Maybe hey, you're in the top 500 of all time, or it's almost like what they did with Billboard's top 500 albums of all time. Not one Led Zeppelin album after they redid it. Not one Led Zeppelin album ranked higher than any Beyonce album.
Don't do that, Matthew. Don't do that.
What happened?
Crumb.
What did he
mention?
He's mentioned Crumb.
Crumb Bum's on there,
yeah. Matthew Pounder wants to see me die on the stream live.
Oh, you're gonna... I just realized...
And yeah, Grell, Matty Steady. Grell. Yep. I mean, okay, Grell started out aping certain people, but by the time he hit Warlord, which I think is one of the best series when Grell was doing it, not letting other people draw it for him, when Grell was writing and penciling and inking Warlord for DC Comics, I think that was one of the best comic books that DC ever put out.
I love it.
It's just, I collected everything. I tracked that book down. I tracked that book down like I tracked down Neil Adams X-Men, Kirby X-Men, and I would track down the old Grell. And Clobby, take over, please. I'm crying. I'm crying.
Well, I guess what I will do now in closing is list... How about Hungry Boy? I'll give you something else to be mad at. I'll let you be mad at me by giving you my favorite list. Favorite, because I'm not arrogant like Tripwire.
Trip Wankage.
A couple years ago, the great Mark C and I we counted down our top 25 favorites. I don't have this list with me, or I would read it to you. I'll do mine really quick. Yeah. And then you could really make fun of me.
No.
25, Alex Raymond. These are favorites, by the way.
Okay.
24, Marshall Rogers. 23, Al Williamson. 22, Walt Simonson. 21, brace yourself.
Shalom, Ezra.
John Buscema. 20, Nick Cardy. Get ready. 19, Joe Kubert. 18, Mike Grell. 17, don't hit me, Steve Ditko. They're favorites, dude. 16, Alex Ross. Now I'm in trouble.
No.
15, Bernie Wrightson.
Yes.
Now you're going to get mad at me again. 14, Dave Cockrum. 13.
Below.
13, Wally Wood. 12, Jim Starlin.
Yeah.
11, Betty Winslow Smith. And now for the top 10. Favorites, remember.
Okay.
Not gospel.
Right.
10, Kurt Swan. 9,
yes.
9, and 2 years ago when I read this one to Mark, he was floored because of the way I talk about this guy. 9, John Byrne. John Byrne at number 9. I know it's hard to believe.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
8, John Romita Sr.
Yes.
7, Jim Steranko.
Yes.
6, Jim Aparo.
Yes.
I know it's high. 5, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
Just to break in, I don't think your placement of Aparo is that high. I don't. So, but go on.
You don't think it's too high?
No,
I love it.
I don't.
Number what's it? 4? 4. Neil Adams.
Mm-hmm.
3. George Perez.
Yes.
2. Gil Kane.
Oh, yes.
And you'll have to guess at number 1 because I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, could it possibly be somebody who was forced to
Okay,
do
I'll
certain
tell you.
things?
Don Perlin.
Oh, you're going to out me? You're going to dox me?
George Tuska. Frank Robbins. Hey, I'd put Don Perlin on this list for some of those guys they put on there.
I am Don Perlin, come back from the dead. Yes, I am.
You are. Oh, my goodness. Well, everyone, we've been here for 3.5 hours. And Matthew Pounder, Ozumo Tezuka, didn't he do Astro Boy? Wasn't that him? Can't remember. Anyway, thank you all for being here with us tonight. It's been so much fun. I mean, this Hungry Boy, dude, I can't believe it's 3.5 hours. It flew by for me, man. This is what I love to do, man. Talking comic book art. I don't get a chance to do it that much, and especially with somebody like you who knows way more than I'll ever know. So it's cool.
Please, come on.
It's true.
Please,
dude, it's true. You know it's true.
No,
but
I know about the techniques. I know about the making of the sausage, but you know about how the restaurants are organized to serve the sausage. You know what I mean?
I'm the health inspector. Thank you all so much.
The health inspector of comic.
Somebody has to be.
God
man,
bless you, Clobby.
I want to shout out. Let's see. I'll be here Wednesday night doing. We'll see if Mark and Raquel will be here. I hope so. We'll see.
I think so. Yep.
And then Saturday night for New Year's Eve. Oh, cool. Well, Saturday night for New Year's Eve, I'll be here counting it down. I might start the show a little late on this Saturday night, but I'll be here counting it down. I agree, Maddie's Daddy. It's ridiculous that Joe Shuster was left off of that.
Oh, just disgusting.
So I'll shout out our great wrenches first before we get out of here, and then our friends in the chat.
Thank you for
the bronze wrencher, Eric K. Thank you so much.
Darius.
Chris Persia, the master, the vindicated wrench of the North. D. Bud Martin, Iron Wrencher, Lord Thoth. Avon lives, long live the Legion. What are you doing?
Sorry, I'm reading.
He's reacting to the chat.
Yeah, but let me do this first, then react.
Sorry.
Let me do this real quick. That's okay. J-Man, the wrench without fear. The laughing wrench, clobbering time's own Hungry Boy, the artiste, and the Clobberin Meister.
I love that.
Phantom Outsider, the great Kal-El, and the great Maddie's Daddy. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Now go ahead. What you got going on? I didn't mean to interrupt you. What you laughing at, Willis? Oh, that. Thank you for the I couldn't see it, because I was looking at the other screen. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Eric confirmed Rob Leafield is Clobby's fave. I had to look up the worst. Yes. He is my favorite. He is my favorite. Good night, Jill. Great to see you. Jill, appreciate you so much. Good to see you there. Esmer Goldstein, thank you. Andy Masterson, thanks for being here tonight. Pleasant Valley Picker. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you there. Who else is here? Captain Infinity. Captain Infinity and beyond. Linrod, Darius Munchausen, Matthew Pounder, Lisa. Lovely Lisa. Good to see you. I'll go quick if I can. If you I can't run the chat back far enough to get everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here with us tonight. I'll shout everybody out proper Wednesday night because we kept everybody late enough. So, thank you all. Please have a fantastic remainder of your evening. and enjoy these final messages.